Chapter 110 You Don't Deserve That. Chapter 110 You Don't Deserve That. The cyan bloodbat had a length of about 8 meters and a broad back, so it was still spacious, even when there were 2 people sitting on top of it. Holding onto the cyan bloodbat's long thin ears, Shi Yang clenched his legs tightly on its neck, as the air blowing against him was like a strong gale. Looking down from up in the sky, the warriors in the dead swamp were as small as flies, and a sense of pride welled up in Shi Yang. Riding a demon beast in the sky with the wind shuttle beside his ears, Shi Yang loved the feeling of riding the cyan bloodbat. The Shura blood guard on that cyan bloodbat noticed Shi Yang's enjoyment. He smiled. If young Master Yang returned to the Yang family, you will have a better mount, and then the cyan bloodbat will mean nothing. A better mount? Shi Yang asked. What sort of mount? A mount that is worthy of you. Bigger and faster than the cyan bloodbat. It can also understand what you say, and will protect you. If the family head presents you with a twin-headed dragon, then please let me ride for a minute. Twin-headed dragons are all level 6 demon beasts, the same as Master Xiao's level 6 cyan bloodbat, but more capable than his. Twin-headed dragon? Level 6 demon beast. Don't they have power equal to that of a Nirvana realm warrior? Shi Yang was shocked. In the dark forest, the dead swamp, and the cloud mountain, level 6 demon beasts were already masters, some with even more intelligence than some warriors. Every level 6 demon beast was untamable, and refuses to be any warrior's mount. However, the Yang family could make those demon beasts be mounts so easily, and even gifted them to experts. From this, Shi Yang could imagine how powerful the Yang family was. Yes, twin-headed dragons can shoot ice and flames, making them equal to a Nirvana warrior with twin martial spirits. It can fly better than a warrior at the same realm. That warrior proudly smiled. In the endless sea, only a few powers can afford to give their descendants level 6 demon beasts, and we, of the Yang family, are one of those powers. Shi Yang could presume how powerful the Yang family was. Bang, bang, bang. Blasts came from the sky, looking as if they were trying to crack the world into pieces. Shi Yang was soon drawn towards it, and he turned his eyes from the cyan bloodbat to look towards the front. In front of them, the Shura king, Xiao Hani, stood in the sky like a devil, controlling the 3 broad blood rivers, and brutally assaulting Beiming Shong, lord of the dark world and the mistress of the dark world, causing them to flee. Inside the 3 blood rivers, overwhelming blood gas was flowing like 3 blood dragons. Beiming Shong was frozen and his body was surrounded by ice fire, moving in and out of one of the blood rivers, as he defended against the blood river with a rigid face. Blood light shot into the sky as thousands of magic snakes formed from the blood river, and tried to entangle Beiming Shong. The blood snakes looked incredibly vivid as they waved their sharp immortal claws. Once the blood snakes were frozen, due to Beiming Shong's ice fire, they fell into the blood river, and then quickly revived and jumped towards Beiming Shong, again, this time with even more ferocity. The Lord of the Dark World, Zhu Zihei, generated dark world thorns around his body and looked like a huge hedgehog. In the blood river, Zhu Zihei kept producing dark world thorns to prevent the blood gas from the blood river from reaching him, and tried to escape towards the south. The mistress of the dark world stayed in darkness, as she too was devoured by blood river. She struggled but couldn't get rid of it. Xiao Hani was like a devil from hell, and he got a pleasurable feeling from fighting with the 3. He even scorned lightly, not working. Still not working. The warriors here are too weak. You could only be servants in the endless sea, and even there, you would not stand out. Beiming Shong went into a rage, but couldn't do anything. Only at that moment, did they realize just how frightening the warriors from the endless sea were. They didn't know that, while fighting with them, Xiao Hani already pressured Jua Qi to flee thousands meters into the swamp. Go. Suddenly, the voice of the mistress of the dark world came from the darkness. The next moment, from the darkness, a blast of strange power came. After a boom, that darkness broke down and a black shadow escaped toward the south. Meanwhile, the Lord of the Dark World, Zhu Zihei, also began to trigger his skills, and disappeared like a wisp of wind. Beiming Shong's expression suddenly shifted, as he saw the 2 disappear, and he quickly tried to escape too. You have to stay. Shura King Xiao Hani showed a frightening expression on his scarred face. The other two blood rivers suddenly moved crazily, and merged into the first river. The three blood rivers joined into an endless sea. In the blood sea, Bei Ming Shong's body was drowning, and he couldn't make a move. He bellowed desperately. Humph! Xiao Hani looked down on him coldly, and then laughed cunningly. You want to kill the descendant of the Yang family? I will kill you first. Xiao Hani turned into a bloody light, and then flew out of the blood sea, disappearing into blood gas. From the blood sea came Bei Ming Shong's miserable cries, as he couldn't fight back anymore. Shi Yang was secretly delighted, but he smiled coldly. Bei Ming Shong is finished. That guy is merely at the first sky of the sky realm, so he can't fight against Master Xiao. Once the three blood rivers combined, even a sky warrior at the second sky could be killed. That warrior confirmed in despise, he is dead meat. Let's go down, I saw some friends. Shi Yang moved his head to look down, and spoke to that warrior. Sure. That guy nodded happily, and patted the cyan bloodbat's head back. The cyan bloodbat cried and dashed down quickly to land beside the group including Kai Xiao and Zhuo Shi. Having the mission to protect Shi Yang, those Shura blood guards also flew down and encircled Shi Yang. Shi Yang got off the cyan bloodbat, and smiled to Zhuo Shi. Why are you still here? We are just on our way home. Zhuo Shi pouted, while looking at the Yang family warrior beside Shi Yang in awe, and said in a low voice, Shi Yang, who are they? From her teacher, Kai Xiao, Zhuo Shi had already learned of the abilities of the Shura blood guards, yet Xiao Hani's behavior in the sky still astonished her. Therefore, standing in front of the Shura blood guard of the Yang family from the endless sea, even Zhuo Shi was anxious. I don't know either. Shi Yang shook his head, and felt confused, but, they won't do bad things to me. Hee hee. Bang. Just then, a frightening explosion came from the sky. In the middle of the blood sea, Bei Ming Shong's body exploded while his head and limbs fell to the ground. The blood sea started to disappear. The hideous-looking Shura king, Xiao Hani, fell from the sky to Shi Yang's side, with a bloody jade bottle in his hand. Inside the bottle, Bei Ming Shong's spirit was struggling in hatred. Young Master Yang. Xiao Hani walked up to Shi Yang, the smell of blood wafting from his body, and smiled. I didn't prepare any gifts for our first meeting. But this guy is at the first sky of the sky realm. When we get back to the Yang family, I will refine a weapon with his spirit as a gift for you. Well, Shi Yang scratched his head and smiled bitterly. I don't know who you are, but it's already a big gift that you killed Bei Ming Shong. It's not big enough. Xiao Hani shook his head, and said rigidly, Young Master Yang will be the hope of the Yang family. I have to be good to you before you go back to the Yang family in the endless sea, or you will forget me, hey. Mu Yu Dai and Di Yalan stared at the jade bottle in Xiao Hani's hand, and went blank seeing Bei Ming Shong's struggling spirit. Master, who on earth is Shi Yang? Kai Xiao asked after a short silence. Xiao Hani frowned, and took a glance at Kai Xiao coldly. None of your business. Kai Xiao smiled embarrassingly, and stopped asking, before he looked at Shi Yang in surprise. Young Master Yang, let's find a better place for talking. Xiao Hani suddenly suggested. Before Shi Yang was about to nod, he saw Mu Yu Dai running toward him in haste. What? Shi Yang turned gloomy, and looked at her impatiently. What do you want now? Shi Yang, I want to be your woman. Mu Yu Dai bit her lips and pretended to be cool, but said in blush, you know, you are fond of women. I think I'm not that bad looking. I can do anything for you. And I will learn to do anything that I can't. I promise, I will make you happy. As long as you get revenge for me, I don't need you. Shi Yang shook his head. Mu Yu Dai's thin body quivered, and her face turned pale, with her lips bleeding. Bearing such huge humiliation, Mu Yu Dai still continued to plead, to be your concubine is okay. I swear I will make you happy. You don't deserve that. Chapter 111 Immortal Pills. Chapter 111 Immortal Pills. The cyan bloodbat carried Shi Yang and flew to the east of the dead swamp. Soon, they landed in the woods where Xia Xinyan was. This time, Shi Yang sat on Xiao Hani's cyan bloodbat. This cyan bloodbat had crimson eyes and sharp claws. Its wings were flared out, giving it a menacing dominance. Just as Xiao Hani, the cyan bloodbat emitted a bloody smell, as it had eaten numerous warriors. Xiao Hani wanted to talk to Shi Yang, and Shi Yang didn't want to talk to Mu Yu Dai, so he refused her and climbed onto the cyan bloodbat, without taking any further looks at that snobbish woman. The cyan bloodbat landed slowly, and stopped in front of Xia Xinyang. Xiao Hani walked up and said lightly, "Little Xia, it's all finished here. I can give you a ride if you are going back to the endless sea." Xia Xinyang smiled elegantly, "Thank you, Uncle Xiao." Xiao Hani nodded, as he walked aside with Shi Yang, and looked directly into his eyes. "Young Master Yang, could I check your body?" Shi Yang was confused, and didn't want to wait. "Sure." Xiao Hani reached out his red hand and put it on Shi Yang's shoulder, then a stream of dense profound qi went into Shi Yang's body. That agile profound qi moved all around Shi Yang's meridians. After that, Xiao Hani finally nodded joyfully. "Well, it seems you did inherit the immortal martial spirit of the Yang family." Immortal martial spirit? Shi Yang was a little shocked, but after spending a few short moments thinking, he realized why these experts from the endless sea came here. "Young Master Yang, could you cut your arm? I want to see what stage your immortal martial spirit is at." Xiao Hani hesitated, and then asked. "Okay." Shi Yang didn't feel uncomfortable at all, and he took out a dagger from his bag, and made a small cut on his left arm. While cutting, Shi Yang looked calm, as if he wasn't mutilating his own flesh. Xiao Hani was observing him carefully. Seeing Shi Yang's boldness, Xiao Hani believed Ku Luo's opinion of Shi Yang, that he was a strong-minded one. He, who was brutal to himself, would also be brutal to others. Xiao Hani truly believed that, in order to become a powerhouse in this world, one needed to be brutal. Though the Yang family was influential in the Endless Sea, it still had many adversaries. Those demons in the fourth demon area hated the Yang family so much that they would do anything to hurt the Yang family. If Shi Yang was not decisive enough, he may lose his life in the Endless Sea someday. Xiao Hani asked Shi Yang to cut himself, as he wanted to test his disposition too. Seeing Shi Yang's ruthlessness to himself, Xiao Hani realized that it would be easy to train Shi Yang, so he was very pleased. The wound began to twist like a worm, while the flesh joined with itself. Xiao Hani's eyes sparkled. Right in front of him, Shi Yang's wound healed little by little. In merely 10 minutes the wound completely recovered, without a scar. "Fantastic! Fantastic! Fantastic!" Xiao Hani repeated the word in excitement. "Without immortal pills, you have already reached the second stage of the immortal martial spirit as a human warrior. Fantastic! Brilliant! Young Master Yang, you are such a genius. It was worth of my journey here. The second stage of the immortal martial spirit." Shi Yang was surprised, and he smiled. "Good. I felt my immortal martial spirit had changed when I was in that odd space. So it turns out that it advanced to the second stage." Young Master Yang, the immortal martial spirit of the Yang family doesn't advance with mere training, it also needs blood. Young Master Yang must have met formidable adversaries in the fake gate and gotten hurt, so your immortal martial spirit advance. Xiao Hani didn't get into the fake gate of heaven, but he knew everything that happened to Shi Yang in there. "Right." Shi Yang nodded. "Young Master Yang, now I will explain the Yang family to you." The family head went to. Xiao Hani told the story about Yang Hai and King Yang Qing in details, and sighed. "Young Master Hai is middle-aged and unable to fight for the family in the Endless Sea. What a pity. It's good to have you, Young Master Yang. I came all the way to take Young Master Hai back to the Endless Sea. But I can't push him when he refused. What do you think, Young Master Yang?" Xiao Hani's eyes were shining. Before Shi Yang replied, he continued, "Young Master Yang, with your temper and talent, you could be a pillar of the family and a legend in the Endless Sea. The Merchant Union is too small of a place for you, and the Shi family can't give you a bright future. Young Master Yang, the vast Endless Sea is so mysterious. It contains god domains, exotic women, and many different experts. That's where you belong, Young Master Yang." To attract Shi Yang to the Endless Sea, Xiao Hani kept depicting the various fascinating things in the Endless Sea, in the hope that Shi Yang go to the Endless Sea to adventure. "Sure. I will go with you." Before Xiao Hani could finish his speech, Shi Yang interrupted. "I love challenges. The more dangerous, the more captivating. I will go to the endless sea anyway. The earlier, the better. Shi Yang was a fanatic for adventures. He went to the Shi family for a chance to develop himself. However, he was not the real Shi Yang of the Shi family, so he never regarded it as his home. Before such a great chance, Shi Yang seized it without any hesitation. To him, the endless sea was much more attractive than the merchant union. Great! Great! Xiao Hani bursted into laughters. He thought he would have to make a long speech, but was not expecting that Shi Yang would accept so fast. Shi Yang was only 17, but already reached the second sky of human realm, had twin martial spirits, great talent, and a cool personality. No matter how anyone looked at it, Shi Yang was far more suitable than Yang Hai, due to the cruelty in the endless sea. Xiao Hani will complete his mission if he takes Shi Yang back to the endless sea. Young Master Yang, here's an immortal pill made by the family head, which is one of the 7 famous medicines in the endless sea. It can clean your meridians and your whole body. The immortal pills are spirit-level medicine, and sometimes can make a commoner into a warrior, by triggering his martial spirit. Once you take it, your meridians will expand and your immortal martial spirit will develop more. Since you've reached the second stage of the immortal martial spirit, you can't advance much though. But it would benefit you a lot, so take it now. Xiao Hani smiled, took out a jade box and opened it, inside which was a pill. That pill was shining with beautiful colors, and from the small holes on it, wisps of pleasing and refreshing scents wafted out. This immortal pill is very strong, and may torture you for days. But it does not harm your body. Young Master Yang, take it and I will protect you here. No one would dare interrupt you in the dead swamp. Xiao Hani handed the pill to him with a serious face. Shi Yang nodded, and picked up the pill in astonishment. Bum bum, bum bum, bum bum. As he held the pill in his hand, he felt the beats from an infant's heart. And the holes were producing a pleasing smell. A spirit-level pill. Shi Yang was a bit intoxicated by the pill, as he now knew more about the Yang family, so he got much hope for his trip to the endless sea. Young Master Yang, the magical properties of the pill will dissipate 3 days after leaving the box. Seeing Shi Yang was calmly observing, Xiao Hani quickly explained. Spirit-level pills, so valuable, hehe. Somehow, I feel a bit of regret from taking this. Shi Yang smiled with pride, and then consumed it. With your personality, young Master Yang, once you enter the endless sea, you will have endless women and treasures. At that moment, young Master Yang won't be surprised by this pill anymore. Young Master Yang, sit down and have a good rest. I will protect you. Xiao Hani spoke softly, smiling. He was hard on others, but very considerate when facing a member from the Yang family. Got it. Shi Yang's expression shifted as he felt a burning sensation in his stomach. Without any further considerations, he sat down, cross-legged, and tried to digest this spirit-level pill from the endless sea. Chapter 112, Human Realm Third Sky. Chapter 112, Human Realm Third Sky. East of the Dead Swamp. Shi Yang sat on the ground, with his legs crossed and eyes shut. His body was starting to turn red as the temperature of his body slowly increased. Drops of sweat appeared on his forehead, but they were evaporating very quickly, due to his high body temperature, and changing into water vapor. Soon, around Shi Yang's body, there appeared a circle of mist. The mist kept increasing, and then evaporating from the increasing heat. But still the mist ceased to disappear. Shi Yang's expression soon turned grim, it looked as if he was in a lot of pain. Xiao Hani stood sternly next to him, his eyes focused on Shi Yang, watching Shi Yang's every movement. Some of the Shura blood guards also came around, being filled with curiosity. But under Xiao Hani's watch, they were all silent, and didn't dare to make a single sound, scared that they might disturb Shi Yang. After God knows how long, Shi Yang's body slowly trembled, and sweat started pouring down his body like rain, which resulted in more mist forming. From the beginning to the end, Shi Yang hadn't let out a single sound of pain. As more time passed, Shi Yang's expression became more stern as he battled against the pain in his body. Xiao Hani had made an understatement about how painful the process of absorbing the immortal pill would be. The children from the Yang family would usually have special personnel taking care of them when consuming the immortal pill, and they would be given an ice pill to assist them in bearing the pain. The ice pill could lessen the amount of pain induced by the immortal pill, cancelling out some part of the violent medicinal effects of the immortal pill, and making it less painful for the person who takes it. But, once the ice pill was used, the medicinal effects of the immortal pill would lessen by 20%. While the ice pill could remove some of the pain, it will also remove some of the medicinal power of the immortal pill. In Xiao Hanyi's hand, there was actually an ice pill. Originally, he was going to let Shi Yang take it. However, seeing the talent and toughness that Shi Yang had shown, he decided against it. He wanted to see if Shi Yang could really bear through it. If Shi Yang really couldn't take the pain of the immortal pill anymore, then Xiao Hanyi would give him the ice pill. Xiao Hanyi didn't want Shimai to lost out on that 20% of power in the immortal pill. Therefore he hadn't told him about the assisting ice pill, hoping that Shi Yang could absorb the medicinal powers of the immortal pill to the greatest extent. But, he was still nervous. He worried that Shi Yang's perseverance would not be enough and that he would not be able to bear with it. So he didn't dare to relax, and remained prepared to lead in at any time. On the other side, Xia Xinyang was watching everything, and a trace of surprise flashed through her beautiful eyes. She was the young mistress of the Xia family, and the relationship between the Xia family and the Yang family had always been close, so Xia Xinyang knew about the secrets behind the immortal pill and the ice pill. She knew that children of the Yang family, unless they were in the disaster or earth realms, would be given an ice pill to assist them. In the Yang family, there were many children who wanted to absorb all of the power of the immortal pill, and willingly chose to give up on the ice pill. However, rarely could any of these people bear through it. Most would give up in the middle of the process, and couldn't help but ask for an ice pill to ease that frightening pain. Xia Xinyang wasn't far from Shi Yang and Xiao Hanyi. When Xiao Hanyi took out the immortal pill, immediately she keenly noticed that Xiao Hanyi hadn't taken out the ice pill. At that moment, her exquisite mind had guessed Xiao Hanyi's intention, and knew what kind of thoughts were going through Xiao Hanyi's mind. Xia Xinyang was also very curious, and she wondered if Shi Yang could really bear through it, or if he would suddenly open his eyes and pass out. The 7 most wonderful elixirs of the Endless Sea each had their own individual effects. The immortal pill of the Yang family was known for its violent and fierce medicinal effects. The extreme pain accompanied with the process of taking the pill was also very well known. She felt that Shi Yang wouldn't be able to hold it, and that he would soon be overwhelmed by the pain in his body. Having that thought in her mind, Xia Xinyang couldn't help but silently move towards him. Xiao Hanyi's brows furrowed. He looked back and glanced at Xia Xinyang, and motioned for her to keep silent. Nodding her head, Xia Xinyang signaled that she understood. She kept silent, and paced towards Shi Yang's side, quietly watching Shi Yang. A day quickly passed. At this point, Shi Yang's body was all red, mist covered his whole body, and his expression was contorted, as if he was holding in a great amount of pain. 2 days had passed. Shi Yang's body was trembled slightly, and the amount mist around his body had increased. But his eyes were still tightly shut, and he unyieldingly battled against the fierce medicine in his body. 3 days had passed. The mist around Shi Yang's body had started to take on a darker color. On this day, the sweat on Shi Yang's body also started becoming dark brown. Xiao Hanyi's expression became more serious, and there was even some surprise in his eyes. Xia Xinyang was also secretly amazed. She was shocked by Shi Yang's perseverance, and knew that, this time, the Yang family had caught themselves a treasure. It had always been rare for there to be a child of the Yang family that could take the immortal pill at the human realm, and silently persist for 3 days. Those that managed this feat all generally become famous and domineering individuals in the future. The 4th day came. On this day, Shi Yang's body was visibly shaking. The sweat on his body made his clothes wet, and he looked like he was completely soaked in water. The sweat on his body was no longer of a muddy color, but was now jet black, and accompanied by a horrible stench, which continued to become stronger. On this day, the surprise on Xiao Hanyi and Xia Xinyang's faces became very obvious. Those Shura blood guards watching on the side were also amazed, and their faces were tinged with awe. These Earthrealm and Nirvana Realm warriors were almost completely sure that Shi Yang would become a central pillar of the Yang family. His potential was limitless. Shi Yang still made no sound, but his teeth were tightly clenched, and his body kept shaking. His body was like a red-hot iron, and the heat he gave off was astounding. 4 days, 4 whole days, and Shi Yang hadn't even made a single pained moan. The children of the Yang family, even the tough-minded men, would scream in piercing pain when they took the immortal pill without taking an ice pill. Moreover, there would be people rolling on the ground, pointlessly attempting to negate some of the pain in their bodies. But Shi Yang was steady as a mountain. He sat still like a 1,000-year-old stone. At the end of the 5th day, Shi Yang suddenly howled loudly. He stood up, and the mists around his body rippled like waves. "Young Master Yang," Xiao Hani shouted with a deep voice. He said urgently, "Can you still bear it?" Opening his eyes, Shi Yang's eyes were as red as blood. He clenched his teeth and smiled widely. "Awesome. Awesome." Xiao Hani's expression froze, as he stared at Shi Yang in daze. "Isn't it painful?" "Painful?" Shi Yang shook his head, the redness on his face slowly disappeared. He smiled. "The pain has passed away, and now I'm in the 3rd sky of the human realm. This immortal pill sure is forceful. I almost couldn't hold back a scream. Now the pill has spread through my entire body, and the fiery raging power is slowly disappearing." The 3rd sky of the human realm. The Yang family warriors all yelled out, their faces full of astonishment. 17 years old, human realm 3rd sky. Even for those who grew up in the Yang family and the central disciples, who have consumed countless elixirs, could rarely break into the 3rd sky of the human realm at 17 years old. Shi Yang had always been in the Merchant Union, without the assistance of the powerful resources of the Yang family, but he had stepped into the 3rd sky of the human realm at 17 years old. Such talent, such cultivation speed, it was utterly too good to be true. Xiao Hanyi's eyes glimmered with light. He took a deep breath, and said in a deep tone, "Young Master Yang, it seems that I've underestimated you." Absorbing all of the immortal pill's power within 5 days of time, without any external help, is extremely shocking. If the head of the family knew about your performance just now, he'd be very pleasantly surprised. If young Master Yang returns to the family right now, you might just be immediately rewarded an island and a level 6 demon beast, the twin-headed dragon. An island? Level 6 demon beast, the twin-headed dragon? Shi Yang was stunned. How big is the island? Bigger than Tianyun City. Young Master Yang would be able to do whatever he wants with it. Hihi, don't be too surprised, young Master Yang. Wait till you return to the family, then you'll know how wealthy and powerful the family is. Our family, now, controls almost 1,000 islands, some of which are even bigger than the entire Merchant Union. At that time, young Master Shi will know how insignificant the Merchant Union is. Xiao Han Yi said proudly. I'm looking forward to it. Shi Yang nodded, his face full of joy. Young Master Yang, may we go to the endless sea now? Xiao Han Yi pondered for a second, and said, young Master Hai does not wish to return, and there is no need to go to Tianyun City, we should just leave now. Right now the 4th demon area is ready to make trouble, and I shouldn't stay out for long. The sooner we go back, the sooner we'll be able to contribute a little more power to the family. Young Master Yang, you also need to be tested by the family, and cultivate the immortal rebirth creed so you can quickly become a pillar of the family. It's not good to leave without saying goodbye. We should still go back to Tianyun City. Now Tianyun City must be a mess, and the Mo, Ling, and Beiming families might go against the Shi family. Before I leave from here, I want the Shi family to have no enemies in Tianyun City. Shi Yang frowned and pondered for a while, and then spoke in a serious voice. Although he wasn't really a Shi family member, Shi Jian, Han Zhong, and Yang Hai have treated him well. Now that the Shi family is facing troubles, he couldn't just leave them high and dry. Xiao Hani's group had the power to sweep away all of the 5 families of Tianyun City. With this power, the Shi family could destroy all obstacles in the way, and become the true leaders of the Merchant Union. He felt like he should do something for the Shi family, or else he would always feel guilty inside. Favors must be paid and grudges must be settled. This had always been his rule. Young Master Yang is an affectionate man. Xiao Han Yi nodded, and said, Then we will go back to Tianyun City. Uncle Xiao. Xia Xin Yang suddenly spoke up. All right, you can come along too. We won't stay in Tianyun City for long. Once the business is settled, we'll immediately go back to the Endless Sea, how's that? Xiao Hanyi said. Xia Xin Yang nodded. Yes, I'll go along with Uncle Xiao's arrangements. While talking, Xia Xin Yang looked deeply at Shi Yang. She hesitated for a moment, then said, Uncle Xiao, Shi Yang still has the star martial spirit of the three gods sect on him, don't forget. This will be handled by the head of the family. Xiao Hanyi grinned. The three gods sect has always been in conflict with the Yang family. If they knew that Shi Yang got the star martial spirit of Ouyang, I wonder what their faces would look like. Haha, young Master Yang truly has the best fortune. He even obtained the original seal of the martial spirit. This time, the head of the family will laugh until his mouth is crooked. Let's go. Without further ado, Shi Yang took the lead and walked towards the level 6 cyan bloodbat. Chapter 113, Poisonous Bu Bo. Chapter 113, Poisonous Bu Bo Tianyun City. Recently, this place was not at peace. Whether it be day or night, there would often be warriors fighting to the death in the different areas of the city. There were warriors dying almost every day. The city was already in such a chaos, which meant it was even more dangerous outside the city. The peasants in the city could often see bright lightning and fierce sword spirits outside the city, sometimes accompanied by miserable screams. During the day, the peasants often gathered in the more busy streets. And once the night came, they shut their doors tight, and didn't dare go outside. The warriors and mercenaries, which were usually active around the Dark Forest and the Cloud Mountain, were scared to come trade into Tianyun City lately, as if to avoid misfortunes. The ones who knew inside information could sense that this was the 5 families infighting. The 5 families were the 5 most powerful forces in the Merchant Union, and their strife made the normal residents jitter in panic, hoping that the fighting would end soon. The Shi family, Stone Room. The important members of the Shi family, such as Shi Jian, Shi Tai, and Shi Dang, were all scowling, as if something was troubling them. Shi Jian had been unhappy lately too. When Shi Yang and the group left, the Shi family had started to gain the upper hand in the fight between their family and the Mo family. They beat the Mo family miserably, making the people from the Mo family cower in their homes, too scared to go out during the day. However, half a month ago, the Mo family suddenly made a counterattack, with a menacing force in tow. During the fight with the Shi family, there were some strangers mixed in with the Mo family's people. These people were experts at using poison, and their methods were incredibly malicious, taking the Shi family by surprise. During their more recent battles, Shi family members were often fatally poisoned, leading to the death of many powerful warriors at the hand of the Mo family. Shi Jian was already full of troubles, and when he heard Yang Hai was related to the Endless Sea, Shi Jian became even more agitated. That day, when the Shura King Xiao Hani and the group of powerful warriors from the Yang family rode the cyan bloodbats and befell on the Misty Pavilion. Their pressuring existence had deeply awed the whole Tianyun city, making the great families in the city feel a sense of insecurity, afraid that the Misty Pavilion might do something striking. After that, Yang Hai returned to the Shi family and explained the background of the Shura King Xiao Hani. After Shi Jian heard Yang Hai's explanation, he couldn't feel happy at all. Instead, he was a little worried. Shi Yang's talent was astonishing, his mind was steady and mature. In Shi Jian's mind, he already thought of Shi Yang as his successor. Now that this Yang family from the Endless Sea had suddenly popped out, catching Shi Jian off guard, he didn't know what to do. Xiao Hani's strong appearance made Shi Jian afraid inside. He started to realize that his treasured grandson Shi Yang might be taken away. He was still looking forward to Shi Yang revitalizing the Shi family. If he got taken away by the Yang family to the Endless Sea, he might just puke blood out of his anger. But the Shura King Xiao Hani was too overbearing, and the Shura blood guards that came along were also extremely formidable. According to Yang Hai's description, Shi Jian realized that, even with all of the Shi family's strength, he still wouldn't be able to go against these people. Thus, thinking that his grandson might leave him, he subconsciously clenched his teeth, but couldn't do anything about it. Not long after Xiao Hani left, the Mo family started to fight back. The Mo family seemed to have gained strong aid from the poisonous Dragon Valley. Lately, even the heavily injured Mo Tuor had begun to occasionally show up in Tianyun City. The injuries on his body seemed to have been almost healed, and he indicated, on many occasions, that he was going to fight to the death with the Shi family. In the following battles, because of the strong aid from the poisonous Dragon Valley, the Shi family repeatedly suffered many losses, and lost many strong warriors. These few days, the Ling family has also been ready to make trouble, as if they made an agreement with the Mo family and the poisonous Dragon Valley. They wanted to take this opportunity and beat the Shi family for their arrogance. From the few recent fights outside the city, the Shi family suffered great loss when they lost 3 Disaster Realm warriors and an Earth Realm warrior. Father, the visitors from the poisonous Dragon Valley have been staying with the Mo family. Today I got news that among the visitors from the poisonous Dragon Valley, there might even be the Valley Master. Poisonous Bu Bo is not only an alchemist, he's also at the first sky of the Sky Realm. The power of his poisons is no trivial matter. God knows what the Mo family offered them, that they actually managed to invite poisonous Bu Bo. This time we're really in a lot of trouble. Shi Dang's expression was not pretty. He deepened his tone, and said, Mo Chao Ji, Mo Chao Tian were killed. Mo Zhon and Mo Qi are also dead. This time Mo Tuor has really gone crazy, or else he wouldn't have invited poisonous Bu Bo from the poisonous Dragon Valley to come. That Bu Bo is a dubious man. This time Mo Tuor has invited serious trouble. The poisonous Bu Bo. Shi Tai exclaimed, his face suddenly became grim, he clenched his teeth and said, Mo Tuor really has gone crazy. That Bu Bo is an ambitious man, who has always wanted to come and cause trouble in the Merchant Union. In the past, his always had Bei Ming Shong on top of him, so he wouldn't try to make trouble. Now that Mo Tuor invited him first, he has a legitimate reason to be here. I'm afraid this time the Mo family is going to be taken over by the poisonous Dragon Valley. Shi Tai's face turned green, but he stayed silent. Big brother, the poisonous Bu Bo has a set of poisonous abilities. It is said that he eats all sorts of poisons every day to strengthen his power. Any normal man who approaches him would rot to death. He's definitely one of the most frighteningly evil men in the world. Shi Tai took in a deep breath, and spoke angrily. How could Bei Ming Shong turn a blind eye on this? If this Bu Bo really controlled the Mo family, then he would become a great threat to the Bei Ming family too. I don't know what Bei Ming Shong is thinking. It seems that Bei Ming Shong is not in the Merchant Union right now. Shi Jian stayed silent for a moment, then he clenched his teeth and said, Han Feng sent the news last time. He said Bei Ming Shong most likely went to the Dead Swamp. Lately Bei Ming Shong proclaimed to outsiders that he is closed-door cultivating, and he won't be dealing with any incidents in the Merchant Union. Even with the poisonous Bu Bo here, he still didn't appear. There's definitely something wrong. He went to the Dead Swamp. Shi Dang's face changed. That kid Shi Yang is also there. If Bei Ming Shong went there, wouldn't Shi Yang be in danger? Shaking his head, Shi Jian said, most likely not. Kai Xiao and that girl from the Misty Pavilion are both there. Even if Bei Ming Shong went there, he wouldn't dare to cause trouble. Master! Master! At this moment, a cry came from outside. Han Zhong sprinted his way here and said urgently, Master, Master Hai has been heavily wounded by someone. His injuries are very serious. What? Shi Jian's expression turned cold, his eyes were almost about to spout out flames. He said furiously, Yang Hai has never cultivated in any martial art. He's not a warrior at all. This is known by all of the Merchant Union. The Mo family would even dare to attack Yang Hai. They've really thrown away all rules. If something happens to Yang Hai, I will fight to the death with Mo Tuor. After Shi Jian roared, he hurriedly followed Han Zhong out, and urgently rushed towards where Yang Hai was lying down. In a room filled with smell of medicine and blood, Yang Hai was lying on the bed with his body covered with blood. 3 physicians from the Shi family bustled with the different bottles and jars, constantly pouring different medicines into Yang Hai's blood-filled mouth. Their expressions were serious. Yang Hai's hand and feet bones were all fractured, and his chest was covered with deep sword cuts. He was unconscious. Together, 3 Disaster Realm warriors of the Shi family knelt down on the ground. They were also covered by blood. With a serious expression they all clenched their teeth. Wang Wei, who did it? Shi Jian's expression was frighteningly grim. While his eyes turned red, he took in a deep breath and said with a low voice, "The Ling family and the Mo family." The Disaster Realm warrior named Wang Wei, who was kneeling on the ground, had a face full of anger. "We were accompanying Master Hai to transfer medicine to the West Pharmacy, and then we were attacked in an alley." Other than the Mo family warriors, the attackers also included people from the Ling family. That young Master Ling Xiaofeng from the Ling family was also there. Ling Xiaofeng. Shi Jian's eyes were bursting with murderous thoughts. That little bastard wants to die. How dare he attack young Hai? I will finish him off. Father, Ling Xiaofeng has always wanted to marry Mo Yangyu. Recently I heard that the Mo family gave a condition, saying that as long as they kill 2 direct descendants of the Shi family, the Mo family will marry Mo Yangyu to Ling Xiaofeng. That kid is crazy about Mo Yangyu. Lately he's been strolling around with the Ling family's warriors, as if trying to find an opportunity to attack. But the direct descendant warriors of our family have also been very careful, and have never left the family, so that kid never got the chance. But, because Master Hai is not a warrior, he had to go out and take care of many matters for the family. I didn't think that Ling Xiaofeng was so crazy that he would even attack Master Hai, who has never cultivated in any martial art. Shi Dang clenched his teeth. Yang Hai's sister, Shi Qing, was also Shi Dang's sister. Which was why his relationship with Yang Hai was very close. All these years, Yang Hai worked with all his dedication for the Shi family. Shi Dang clearly knew this, and had treated Yang Hai as his true brother. Now that Yang Hai was heavily injured, Shi Dang was also furious. He was irritated enough to kill someone. Big brother, Hai is badly hurt. The Ling family really wants him dead. Shi Tai clenched his teeth. The Ling family is already going against the rules by doing this. Big brother, if we don't go and punish the Ling family, they'd really think we're easy to bully. Bother, you go take a visit to the Zhuo family personally. We really need to talk over this thoroughly. Shi Jian breathed in, and advised him, bring more people, be careful along the way. Shi Tai's expression turned cold. The people from the Ling and Mo family don't have the guts to attack me yet. If they really dared to come, I don't mind killing them all. Anyway, be careful. Shi Jian advised him again. Father, will Hai be okay? Shi Dang asked worriedly. Shi Jian looked deeply at Yang Hai, and sighed, don't worry, if any other ordinary person got injured this bad, they would be dead for sure. But Hai is special, and he still has some life left in him, so he will definitely recover. They dared to attack Hai, that means they fear nothing now. We need to be ready as soon as possible. Yes. In a remote alley between the Shi and Zhuo families, there was a very secretive garden. The garden had long been unoccupied, so weeds grew all around, and spiderwebs were everywhere. However, today, in this garden, many figures appeared. Occasionally quiet voices came from one of the wooden cabins. Master Bu Bo, today the Shi family will definitely send powerful warriors to the Zhuo family. Now that the Shi family is starting to be afraid of our attacks, it is important that they talk with Zhuoshu of the zoos. This time, it's very likely that Shi Tai will go personally. At that time, I would hope you could lend a hand and poison that Shi Tai first. Then we could easily kill him. Mo Tuor's voice came faintly. The reason why I came from the poisonous Dragon Valley was to help the Mo family. My disciple, Xie Shou, was killed. This grudge has to be settled with the Shi family, a dark and chilly voice responded. Brother Mo Tuor, if I help you to kill Shi Tai this time, that girl of yours has to marry into our family. Hehe, that kid Xiaofeng has been longing for your family's girl for a long time. You can't get away with this any longer. That kid can't wait anymore. See, he even took care of Yang Hai for you, how's that? Once Shi Tai dies, the marriage between Yang Yu and Xiaofeng will be immediately held. All right. I was waiting for that. Chapter 114, Shi Tai's Death. Chapter 114, Shi Tai's Death. With a gloomy face, Shi Tai was walking through Qianyun City with 7 Shi family escorts. From the Shi family to the Zhuo family, Almost every street was a commercial street. The crowd made way for them when they saw horses from the Shi family. Shi Tai sat rigidly on his horse, pondering on how to talk with Zhuo Shu about the Ling family. After a while, the troops, including Shi Tai, reached a quiet street. This street was in between the Shi family and the Zhuo family. Though not crowded, there were usually vendors present. But today, the street was completely quiet, and not a single vendor was seen. Shi Tai didn't think much about that because recently Tianyun City was chaotic, so citizens rarely wander through quiet streets. The troop was moving at a fast pace, and so they quickly reached the midpoint of the quiet street. Shi Tai's expression turned serious. Boom! A stone wall on the side of the street suddenly exploded. One after another, huge rocks flew into the air and then fell toward Shi Tai. Meanwhile, several shadowed came down a side street and hurtled towards Shi Tai, like eagles swooping down on their prey. Broad, long lightning zipped towards Shi Tai. The space was sealed as a huge net covered the entire block and sealed it from all directions. Shi Tai bellowed, "Mo Tuo! Ling Ju!" Dragon-like lightning, together with a net, blocked the street, and everything quieted down at once. Bang, bang, bang. Shi Tai's body hardened as he used his petrification martial spirit and pushed his nirvana energy to the maximum. Light shot out from his body and smashed the rocks which were flung towards him. Bang, bang, bang. On the sides of the street, the remaining stone walls exploded, one by one, and more rocks flew towards Shi Tai, like a wave of hills. Wisps of light purple smoke came from the blast, and floated around Shi Tai. Though angry, Shi Tai held his breath. Bu Bo. We, of the Shi family, will never stop fighting you. Your Shi family is too weak, and you will die soon. Bu Bo's cold voice came, like a poisonous snake, full of despise. Wisps of smoke pervaded and covered Shi Tai and his troops. Excluding Shi Tai, all the other members of the Shi family group were at the disaster or earth realm. Although they all had held their breath, they couldn't defend against the purple smoke, and their skin turned purple and they were greatly tortured, feeling as if millions of insects were nibbling at their bodies. Screaming miserably, those Shi family escorts fell to ground, and their bodies began to rot away. After petrification, Shi Tai, in the poisonous purple smoke, turned purple as well, feeling pain all over his body. Humph! You, being at the Nirvana realm, are such a fool to go against my poisonous rotting smoke. Bu Bo's cunning voice came from the top of one of the buildings along the street. Papa papa. The electric dragons produced by Mo Tuo struck on Shi Tai endlessly. Meanwhile, the net produced by Ling Ju wrapped around Shi Tai. The experts from the Mo family and the Ling family rushed in, and encircled Shi Tai. Numerous sharp weapons shone and were shot at Shi Tai, like raindrops. Shi Tai was turned into a pincushion, and, due to the poison, his petrification spirit couldn't defend against them. Kill. Mo Tuo finally showed up. He raised a silver hammer, which was covered with lightning, and slammed it down on Shi Tai. Kaka kaka. Every bone in Shi Tai's body broke, and he was bleeding profusely. Boom. With a hideous face, Shi Tai's strong body fell to the ground, and quickly rotted away. Ling Ju walked out from a tree shelter and coldly looked at the rotten body. Well, Shi Jian lost an arm, and Shi Tai is dead. It will now be much easier to attack the Shi family. Mo Tuo looked delightful, and he, again, struck Shi Tai's skull with his hammer. I will bury the Shi family with my grandson. Shi Tai's death is just the beginning. Mo Tuo looked ferocious. Brother Mo, I think we should first arrange our children's wedding. While the Shi family will be making funeral arrangements, we will be having a wedding. Isn't it interesting? Ling Ju came up with an idea. Good. Mo Tuo burst out laughing. Come here, pack Shi Tai's bones, and send them to the Shi family. It's my gift for them. Wish the members of the Shi family a long life. Ha ha ha. Yes, sir. At the dead swamp. Shi Yang sat on the cyan bloodbat with Shura King Xiaohani, who had an uncaring expression on his face. They were training. When Shura King Xiaohani trained evil bloodpath, he could influence the blood of the people around him. Sitting beside him, Shi Yang felt disturbed, and his blood was out of control, trying to gush out of his body. Xiaohani, as if sensing Shi Yang's abnormality, suddenly opened his eyes, smiling. young Master Yang, my evil blood path can influence other people's blood, so you have to be careful while sitting near me. If young Master Yang doesn't like it, you can change to another cyan bloodbat, alright? While talking, Xiao Hani secretly glanced at the cyan bloodbat, on which Xia Xinyan was sitting quietly. Xia Xinyang was still wearing a veil, and her clear eyes were looking absent-mindedly off into the distance. Her thin hands pressed on a bone on the back of the cyan bloodbat, while her slim body showed perfect curves. She was truly captivating. Following Xiao Hani's eyes, Shi Yang gave Xia Xinyang an appreciative look, and his mouth quicked to the side. Old Xiao, is this woman highly sought after in the Endless Sea? For the past few days, Shi Yang had accompanied Xiao Hani. Shi Yang was a casual man. Even when sitting with an expert at the second sky of the Sky Realm, he didn't show any respect and still talked openly. Xiao Hani was used to battles everywhere, so he was an untamable person. He was fond of Shi Yang's boldness, so he also talked casually to Shi Yang. Of course. Xiao Hani showed a meaningful expression. This girl is a top-class beauty in the Endless Sea. Every man is dreaming of her. However, she is always cold towards them. Young Master Yang, if you nail her, even the family head will be surprised. Shi Yang just smiled reservedly. Old and young, both brutes. Xia Xinyan seemed to know what they were talking about, as her white neck turned, and her bright eyes were filled with disdain. Ha, little Xia, you hear that? Xiao Hani was also thick-skinned, as he giggled. Little Xia, our young Master Yang is great. Though his realm is rather low now, he will have a great future. As soon as we return the Endless Sea, he will train with the immortal rebirth creed of the Yang family, and will advance rapidly. A marriage between the Xia family and Yang family would truly be fantastic. What do you think, young Master Yang? Haha. Shi Yang looked indifferent, but secretly cursed that Xiao Hani said such impolite thing. Xia Xinyang glanced at Shi Yang coldly. Although he is very talented, his realm is too low for the time being. And it's not certain whether, one day, he could advance this far or not. Humph, he wants to marry me. He has to wait till the day he can beat me. Shi Yang touched his nose, not angry at all. Beautiful Xinyan, you said it. Don't worry, I will beat you sooner or later, just wait. Beautiful Xinyan? Xia Xinyang was dumbstruck, and she shook her head with an embarrassed expression. Well, you do belong to the Yang family line, so you are as shameless and arrogant as them. Shi Yang was shameless, and not embarrassed at all. It's a deal. One day I beat you, you will. Till that day. Before Shi Yang could finish, Xia Xinyang interrupted him. However, I don't think I will see that day. Humph, you are developing, I'm developing too. When you have reached the disaster realm, you won't advance as fast as you are now. I wonder if you will still be so arrogant then. Don't worry, Xinyang, I won't keep you waiting. Shi Yang kept calling her Xinyan, as if he had grown up with her. Xia Xinyang had such a gorgeous face, bright brain, and perfect figure. How could Shi Yang ignore that? It was because he was out of her league before. But now, Shi Yang seemed to have some hope. Xia Xinyang was uncomfortable hearing him call her Xinyan, as she stared at him once, and then patted her cyan blood bat softly. That cyan blood bat slowed down, and maintained a long distance from Shi Yang. Shi Yang didn't mind that, and turned back to watch her, with obvious lust and desire. Good boy. Xiao Hani praised and said in a low voice, to nail this woman is beneficial to our family. I'll support you in your conquest. Think about it. Take it easy. Easy. Shi Yang beamed with sparkling eyes. Even Xiao Hani does not know what he was thinking about. Chapter 115, Kill Everything. Chapter 115, Kill Everything. Sponsored by Ron Sarmiento. At dusk. The sky was dull, with heavy dark clouds, as if a storm was about to come, dreary and depressing. Cyan bloodbats were flying in the sky in a line, and slowly descended upon Tianyun City. 10 minutes later, the cyan bloodbat arrived at the Shi family's residence. There were white cloth rags hanging everywhere in the residence, and the air was filled with a dismal and gloomy feeling. All members of the Shi family were in agony, as wailing sounds could be heard coming from many rooms. Sitting on the cyan bloodbat, Shi Yang's expression turned cloudy. After glancing down, he realized that they were holding a funeral. According to the ritual, it must be someone important. In the spacious land of the Sha family, all the family members were wearing uniforms and drowning in sorrow. Shatai's descendants all looked mournful. The cyan bloodbat landed in the yard, which drew their attention, and they walked out to watch. Shi Yang walked directly to Shi Jian, with Xiao Hani, and asked, "Grandpa, what happened?" "Young Master Yang, the second lord is dead, and your father is badly hurt too. He still hasn't woken up." Han Zhong clenched his teeth and said in agony, "The Ling family and the Mo family did this." "What?" Shi Yang looked hideous. He took a deep breath, and asked Shi Jian, "Grandpa, what happened?" Shi Jian's eyes turned red, then he glanced at Xiao Hani, and quickly told him the whole thing. "The Ling family. The Mo family." Shi Yang growled, "Blood debts must be paid with blood." Zhuo Shu was standing aside as well, and he looked at Xiao Hani and asked softly, "Kid, who is he?" "Family head. Family head." At that moment, cries came from outside. A Sha family warrior walked in, filled with anger, and said the Ling and Mo families have sent a wedding invitation. They say Xiaofeng and Mo Yenyu are having a wedding today, and they wish for the family head to attend. A wedding invitation? Shi Jian was deeply irritated. "I'm gonna destroy them. Uncle Xiao, I want these two families turned into a river of blood, and the wedding to be a funeral." Shi Yang turned back, and licked his lips with a hideous face. "That will be a piece of cake." Xiao Hani smiled. "Tonight, let the Tianyun city be a Shura slaughterhouse. First the Ling family, then the Mo family, and finally the Beiming family, all will die." Zhuo Shu gazed at Xiao Hani in surprise. "Grandpa, get up onto the cyan bloodbat, let's go to the Ling family right now. Their experts must all be there tonight. We can finish them off all at once," Shi Yang said in a rigid tone. "They are." Shi Jian stared at Xiao Hani in wonder. "Friends," Shi Yang explained casually, then he mounted Xiao Hani's cyan bloodbat and urged, "Members above human realm, find a position on the cyan bloodbats. Let's kill the three families today." Those people in the Sha family were shocked at first, then their spirit was lit up as they walked to the cyan bloodbats. "Shura Bloodguard, control the cyan bloodbats, take care of them." Xiao Hani ordered softly, and smiled at Shi Jian, "Sha family head, I guess young Master Hai had told you who I am. You raised him as your own son, so you are a member of the Yang family too. We will help you at all expense." Shi Jian's body quivered as he yelled, "Thanks. Up to the demon beast. Go to the Ling family." Shi Yang shouted, "They must pay for it. I will let the three families pay for my second grandpa's death." All the Sha family experts mounted the demon beasts after Shi Jian's order. Zhuo Shu hesitated, but he too climbed onto the cyan bloodbat with his experts from the Zhuo family. Who? The cyan bloodbats shot into the sky carrying those angry men straight towards the Ling family. In the Ling family, Ling Ju was chatting with Mo Tuor and Bu Bo happily in his living room. Ling Xiaofeng was so proud that he was toasting to the Mo family, and laughed loudly every now and then. It's his wedding day today, and his dream of having Mo Yenyu finally came true. "Brother Mo, can you guess how Shi Jian will look when he gets our invitation card?" Ling Ju and Mo Tuor toasted and laughed. "I want to see it in person." Mo Tuor grunted with a gloomy face, "It's not finished yet. After tonight, I will continue to fight with the Sha family. I'm gonna destroy them little by little, and let Shi Jian know how it feels to lose his sons and grandsons, and finally I will kill him with my own hand. Mo family head, you must remember your promise to me." Bu Bo, who had a very skinny body, was wearing a dark red gown, had a sharp nose, and had a glittering green light in his eyes. "Master of Valley, don't worry, once the Sha family is smashed, I will do what I have promised." Mo Tuor replied in a haste. Bu Bo nodded without a word. "Xiaofeng, that's enough, don't drink too much. You have to take care of your bride tonight." "Haha, Grandpa wants you to have a son as soon as possible." Seeing Ling Xiaofeng's blushed face, Ling Ju reminded him with a smile. "Haha, everybody, Xiaofeng asks for your excuse for leaving early. Yenyu is waiting for me now." Ling Xiaofeng cupped his hand in front of his chest, and left the room at a light-hearted pace. Before long, Ling Xiaofeng went to bridal chamber and saw Mo Yenyu with a red veil on her head. "Yenyu, you are mine tonight. I've waited for this for so long." Ling Xiaofeng walked up, opened Mo Yenyu's veil, and gazed at her, captivated. Today, Mo Yenyu looked more charming than she used to. With the proper makeup, her beautiful eyes looked even more enchanting. "Xiaofeng, promise me, you will kill the Shi family. My father was killed by them. You marry me, and help me to do that." Mo Yenyu said softly. "Don't worry, the Shi family won't last long. After tonight, we two families will ally and take actions." Ling Xiaofeng nodded with a smile. "Yenyu, you can count on me. I will do everything for you. Look, I even fought with Yang Hai, you should know my love for you." "Okay, I know you are good to me." Mo Yenyu nodded softly. "Ling Ju. Mo Tuo. Gimme your life." At that moment, upon the Ling family, came Shi Jian's angry howls. "Whoa. Whoa. So lively. But it will be a tomb soon." Xiao Hani's spooky laughter echoed through the air. Everybody below felt a numbness in their heads. "You came for me before I got to you. Shi Jian, today is your last day," Mo Tuo bellowed with a crazy expression. One after another cyan bloodbat showed up from the clouds. The Shura blood guards on the cyan bloodbats looked ferocious as they looked down upon those people, and subconsciously licked their lips, as if in front of a huge celebration. "Kill everyone," Xiao Hani ordered casually, and jumped into the air with 3 blood rivers flowing to the crowd. Bang, bang, bang. The stone buildings in the Ling family residence began to fall, one after another, with broken rocks flying everywhere. The 3 blood rivers fell from the sky and filled the Ling family with a bloody smell. All the warriors were crying hideously as they drowned in it. The Shura blood guards rode the cyan bloodbats and flew down to the blood rivers. Once they saw a warrior in it, they would dash up and cut his head off. The lively wedding was now a Shura slaughterhouse, with heads and limbs flying everywhere. Before Shi Jian took action, he found the warriors of the Ling and Mo family were already dead, while those Shura blood guards laughed happily as they slaughtered those below. They were used to relentless slaughter. Zhuo Shu's expression changed, and a strange light crossed his eyes. Seeing those experts killed so easily, he was worried, thus he looked at Xiao Hani in fear. Zhuo Shu finally saw the brutality of the warriors from the endless sea. Standing on Xiao Hani, Shi Yang looked cold with a cunning smile on the corner of his mouth. Watching the Shura slaughterhouse down there, smelling the bloody air, he was so excited that he wanted to kill as well. "Young Master Yang, don't move. We can manage it." While slaughtering, Xiao Hani smiled at Shi Yang. "Killing entire families is what we do. Every Shura blood guard who wants to join us has to kill 100 warriors first. Only through relentless slaughter can one become a Shura blood guard." "Yes." Shi Yang nodded. Miserable cries came from every corner of the Ling family. None of the people on the cyan bloodbats got down, but simply stayed in the air and struck down at those near them. Those warriors of the Ling and Mo family who were trying to run were grabbed by the cyan bloodbats and lifted up into the air. Then they were torn apart and eaten by the cyan bloodbats. The cyan bloodbats were not only the Shura blood guards' mounts, but also very gluttonous beasts. This was a huge chance for the cyan bloodbats to have a good meal. Sitting on Xiao Hani's cyan bloodbat, Shi Yang found that negative energy was gushing into him from all directions. The ground was covered with corpses. After all, most of the warriors were killed in an instant. Their negative energy came out like flood. Even though Shi Yang was still up in the air, he could still feel and absorb that massive negative energy. Bad. Shi Yang's face suddenly changed. The negative energy was so much that he could not bear it anymore. His meridians kept expanding, and he felt that he was almost about to explode. "Uncle Xiao, let me go to the bride's room. Let me have some fun," Shi Yang growled. Chapter 116, Let him watch closely. Chapter 116, Let him watch closely. In the Ling family of Qianyun City, there came a series of miserable shrieks and cries. The cyan bloodbats circled in the sky, and every time a cyan bloodbat dived down, a Ling or Mo family warrior would be beheaded, their bodies snatched up, lifted into the sky, and then eaten by the cyan bloodbats. 3 wide, long blood rivers, looking like bloody dragons, were sloshing around the Ling family residence. They destroyed and crumbled every one of the stone houses of the Ling family, dragging Ling and Mo family warriors into the blood river, where they screamed out in misery and agony. Those that fell under the tide of blood never came back up. The Ling family ground was like a slaughterhouse. The blood gathered and flowed, like streams, and broken bodies' limbs were spread everywhere on the ground. The wedding had turned into a funeral, and the Ling and Mo families had already suffered hundreds of casualties. Ling Ju, Ling Jie, and Mo Tuor were standing, and crazily screaming with red eyes. They tried to defend against this undefeatable power. Unfortunately, both Ling Ju and Ling Jie were only in the Nirvana realm, not in the Sky realm, so they couldn't fly into the air. They could only use their martial spirits to form lightning and barriers to fight against the raging cyan bloodbats in the sky. However, the Shura blood guards in the Yang family were mostly in the Earth or Nirvana realm, and many of them were not at all inferior to Ling Ju and Mo Tuor. Other than that, on the cyan bloodbats, there were also strong warriors of the same level, such as Shi Jian and Zhuo Shu. With the advantage of the cyan bloodbat's ability to fly, they continued their bloody slaughter of the Ling and Mo family members. Ling Ju and Mo Tuor were both covered with blood. They watched as each of their family members became beheaded, their bodies eaten by the cyan bloodbats. They have already fell into hysteria, crazily stirring their martial spirit, but were tightly constrained by the Shura bloodguards on the cyan bloodbats. Poisonous Bu Bo, who came from the poisonous Dragon Valley, stood outside the Ling family garden. His expression was extremely grim. Next to him, the powerful warriors that came with him from the poisonous Dragon Valley were also each being killed by the Shura bloodguards. Seeing all the people next to him die one after another, Bu Bo's eyes began to boil with fury, and colorful poisonous smoke flew out of his body and rose up into the sky. Poisonous Bu Bo's capability was at the sky realm. When he attacked with all his strength, the power was quite strong, and he immediately pulled down the few low-flying Shura bloodguards. Using deadly poison, he immediately killed a few of the less capable Shura bloodguards. "Hey!" The Shura king Xiaohani exclaimed as he glanced over at poisonous Bu Bo. The scar on his face twitched as he laughed and said, "Interesting." Then, Xiaohani patted the cyan bloodbat, and he jumped down from the bat. In a flash of red light, he fiercely shot towards poisonous Bu Bo. The cyan bloodbat carried Shi Yang, and continued to fly towards the bridal chamber. On the cyan bloodbat, Shi Yang furrowed his brows, and negative energies writhed around his body. With his mind full of violent and murderous thoughts, he coldly glared at poisonous Bu Bo. "You can go ahead, young Master Yang. I'll take care of everything here." Xiaohani turned his back towards him, and weirdly grinned. A foreboding energy started gathering in his left hand, and then a mass of earth-shaking evil spirits suddenly formed in his palm. The bloody evil spirits very quickly formed. In a mere second, those evil blood spirits had already formed into a head-sized giant red eyeball. The eyeball opened widely and glared straight at poisonous Bu Bo. Being stared down by that head-sized eyeball, poisonous Bu Bo's heart shook, a trace of fear flashed across his face. "Poison her?" Xiaohani sneered. The bloody eyeball suddenly flew out of his hand, straight towards poisonous Bu Bo. When that bloody red eyeball was in midair, it shone with a bright bloody light, as if it were the eye of a demon, ready to pull people into the endless abyss of bloodthirst and drag them down to the depths of hell. Just when poisonous Bu Bo was about to make a move, he suddenly realized that the blood in his body was flowing crazily, and he couldn't help but spurt out a mouthful of blood. Blood also started to uncontrollably flow out of his eyes, ears, and nose. The red bloody eyeball didn't even hit him yet, but poisonous Bu Bo was already covered with blood, and that blood was all from his own body. Bu Bo's face suddenly changed, and, for the first time, he showed signs of fear. He was too scared to stay, and hurriedly flew away, trying to quickly leave the Ling family residence. When they saw that the Sky Realm warrior, poisonous Bu Bo, had already fled before they even started fighting. Both Ling Ju and Mo Tuor, who had put all their hopes in him, felt cold from head to toe. They felt as if all the energy in their body was emptied. Bu Bo was what the two counted on to fight against the Shi family. The reason why these two dared to attack the Shi family with no fear was due to the presence of poisonous Bu Bo. Since Bu Bo immediately fled, they realized that the scar-faced ferocious man was definitely a master that was much more frightening than Bu Bo. The two really became desperate. The Shura blood guards are in charge of slaughtering everyone here. I'll be right back. The Shura king Xiaohani was calm. He shouted at the Shura blood guards on the cyan blood bats. Then he turned into a flash of red light, and suddenly chased in the direction that poisonous Bu Bo had fled. He laughed creepily and said, "My friend, you're not even close to being able to escape from me, the Shura king." Xiaohani instantly disappeared, and his voice also slowly became distant. However, the Shura blood guard's slaughter of the Ling family did not stop. Poisonous Bu Bo escaped very quickly, and he didn't even care about the warriors of the poisonous Dragon Valley. His departure completely crumbled the hopes of the Ling family, the Mo family, and even the poisonous Dragon Valley warriors. The Shura blood guards were already strong warriors, and the cyan blood bats were ruthless matured demon beasts. With the advantage of flying on the cyan blood bats, the people from the Ling and Mo families were like dead meat on the cutting board, waiting to sliced by the frightening sharp blades, quickly turning into a bunch of dismembered corpses. The Ling family and the Mo family were done for. Zhuo Shu coldly looked at the merciless slaughter happening below, and couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. The Ling family and the Mo family were two of the 5 great families of Tianyun City. They were almost at the same level of power as the Zhuo family, but today the two families were going to be killed off. As the head of the Zhuo family, Zhuo Shu was also full of fear when he looked at the Shura blood guards. The Shura blood guard could destroy the Ling and Mo families, which meant destroying the Zhuo family would also be a piece of cake. The cruel and cold nature of the Shura blood guards had chilled him to the bone. Zhuo Shu secretly made up his mind, he was going to stick tight to the Shi family. From now on, even if he had to cheekily take the initiative to propose marriage, he was determined to settle a marriage between Zhuo Shi and Shi Yang. In the bridal chamber, Mo Yangyu and Ling Xiaofeng were full of fear. Peeking through the slit on the wall, they watched the slaughter going on outside. Under Shi Yang's instruction, the jubilant-looking bridal chamber was not crushed by the blood rivers. The row of stone houses in this area seemed oddly out of place among the crumbled ruins of the Ling family residence. "Yang Yu, let's escape." Ling Xiaofeng felt cold from head to toe and clenched his teeth. "As long as we're alive, we'll definitely get a chance for revenge in the future. We're still young. Someday, we could also reach the Sky Realm. When the time comes, it'll be an eye for an eye and we'll slaughter their whole family too." Mo Yangyu's face was already as pale as a sheet, and her eyes were filled with grief. She sobbed, "We can't get out. Once we get out there, we'll be killed by the warriors on the demon beasts. These people, they want to kill off our 2 families. If we get noticed, we'll be killed for sure. I swear, one day, I'll kill off the entire Shi family." Ling Xiaofeng's face was full of malice, his expression was twisted, and his eyes were filled with endless resentment. Boom! The door to the bridal chamber was suddenly blown open. Shi Yang, whose body was wreathed with violent and bloodthirsty spirits, barged in with an evil and frightening expression. Behind Shi Yang, there were 2 Nirvana realm Shura blood guards. They casually stood outside and waited at the door, their indifferent eyes scanned the whole room. "Young Master Yang, we'll stand guard at the door for you." One of them smiled, and said, Shi Yang said with a raspy voice, and walked towards Ling Xiaofeng and Mu Yu Dai. "Shi Yang." Ling Xiaofeng's face changed, his expression suddenly became insane. "I'm gonna kill you." Boom! Shi Yang was covered with white mist, he struck Ling Xiaofeng's chest with the force of a cannonball. Accompanied by the sounds of bones shattering, Ling Xiaofeng was thrown into the air. When he dropped to the ground, he was already bleeding out of the 7 orifices in his head. He couldn't even move a finger. Ling Xiaofeng was only at the 3rd sky of the nascent realm. Against Shi Yang, who was now at the 3rd sky of the human realm, he was knocked out with just 1 blow, without being able to put up even the slightest bit of resistance. "My father is not a warrior. When you attacked to murder my father, did you even think about what you were doing?" Shi Yang sneered and walked to Ling Xiaofeng's side, dragged Ling Xiaofeng's body, and forcefully throwing him to the Shura bloodguard. Hold him, I need him to watch what I'm about to do. Then, Shi Yang suddenly sprinted towards Mo Yangyu. Mo Yangyu's pretty face turned pale, and she screamed, "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to fuck you." Shi Yang grinned and quickly reached Mo Yangyu's side. His hands opened, his palms facing towards her, and the negative powers in his body formed up and entered into Mo Yangyu's body, forcefully restraining her. Rip! Mo Yangyu's bright-colored silk bridal robe was torn to pieces. Her fair clear skin was quickly revealed to all those present. "Get Ling Xiaofeng up here, let him watch closely." Shi Yang sneered. Then he forcefully threw Mo Yangyu's naked body on the bed, and immediately got on top of her. He laughed wildly. "Mo Yangyu, do you remember what I said in the dark forest? I once said that I would fuck you one day." The two Shura bloodguards were full of excitement. Together they lifted Ling Xiaofeng and brought him before Shi Yang so that Ling Xiaofeng could clearly see what Shi Yang was about to do. Ling Xiaofeng's eyes were bloodshot, and he roared in madness, "Shi Yang, I curse you to damnation. I swear, as long as I still live, I will one day skin you alive and pull out all of your bones. I will make you endure endless desperation and pain for all eternity. You're that guy." Mo Yangyu suddenly screamed. She wanted to struggle frantically, but found that she couldn't stir the power in her body at all. "At that time, I only accidentally glimpsed at you once, and you wanted to kill me, even to capture me, and feed me poison. You truly have a vicious heart. Today is the day of your wedding. I killed off your whole family, and now I will fuck in front of your future husband. Now you know what it is to wish to die." Shi Yang's face was cruel. "Ah." Mo Yangyu's moaned in pain, the tears of humiliation and grief poured from her eyes endlessly. "Bitch, scream. Outside, your family is screaming just like you are, but they're screaming miserably. And you're screaming lewdly." Shi Yang's face was cold. Ling Xiaofeng was held by the Shura bloodguards and he could clearly see his fiancée moaning painfully under Shi Yang. Ling Xiaofeng's expression twisted, he was stricken with grief. At this moment, he felt worse than death. Chapter 117, The Change of the God Stone. Chapter 117, The Change of the God Stone. Sponsored by Tyler Lehner. Shi Yang slowly woke up. Inside the room, Mo Yanyu had fainted, and her naked body was quietly lying on the bed. Ling Xiaofeng showed a ferocious face. After being caught by the two Shura bloodguards, he couldn't do anything. Now, he can only gaze at Shi Yang in hatred. "Young Master Yang." One of the Shura bloodguards called out to him. Shi Yang motioned for them to be silent. "I will train for a while, please protect me." Then Shi Yang sat cross-legged beside Mo Yanyu's naked body and quietly closed his eyes. When he came inside her, the strange power in Shi Yang divided into 3 streams, one of which went into his heart, which had the star martial spirit, and another gushed straight towards his profound chi. The last stream went into Mo Yanyu. The star martial spirit was nourished by that odd strength, and it lit Shi Yang's heart, which was now glittering with a starry light. The star martial spirit had changed Shi Yang's heart, making it look like it was covered with stars. Later that night, the power from the stars gushed into Shi Yang's body, being quickly absorbed by his star martial spirit, which made the starlight shine even brighter. In his sea of chi, the light ball of profound chi contracted as a stream of dense power rippled around and began to circulate in his veins. The profound chi was like clean lake water, flowing in the brook-like veins. After every circulation, the profound chi would go back to the sea of chi and the light ball became smaller. However, its power became much stronger. With his eyes closed, Shi Yang looked inside his body and observed every cell of his body. The profound chi circulated in his meridians again and again, and the light ball became smaller and grew brighter. The profound chi light ball, in his sea of chi, became like a little sun, sending out light and warmth. After many cycles of refinement, the light ball of profound chi had become half of its original size. The essential air between the sky and earth was pulled to Shi Yang. It went into his body through his pores, and traveled to the light ball of profound chi. After a while, a cool air came out from the light ball of profound chi. The cool air entered Shi Yang's mind and circulated slowly in his head. It brought a rather refreshing feeling. The odd light spots in his brain enlarged as they were nourished by the cool air. Suddenly, Shi Yang found that he could generate spirit power, which could separate from his body and act on things that were outside of his physical range. As the spirit power extended, Shi Yang could clearly sense the two Shura blood guards' lively energy and Ling Xiaofeng's suppressed profound qi. He could also sense new changes in Mo Yenyu's body. He seemed to have gained an additional pair of eyes, which seemed to have connected with his spirit power. As long as his spirit power reached out far enough, he could feel the lives around him, both strong and weak. The disaster realm. Shi Yang was joyful, as he realized his realm had advanced. So, he concentrated his efforts on operating the light ball of profound qi, causing more cool air to rush into his mind. Not knowing how much time had passed, Shi Yang woke up again. After opening his eyes, he was a little lost. Then he came to his senses and asked the two Shura blood guards, "How long has it been?" "Almost one night." That Shura blood guard hesitated, and then asked, in uncertainty, "Young Master Yang, have you reached the disaster realm?" "Just now, I sensed the power of your spirit. You seemed to be observing us through your spirit." The other Shura blood guard also asked, his voice filled with surprise. When Shi Yang was in the dead swamp, he advanced to the third sky from the second sky of human realm, through the help of an immortal pill. Generally, no matter how talented he was, it was hardly possible for him to advance so much in half a month. To advance to the disaster realm from the third sky of human realm, one needed not only talent, but also huge amount of dense profound qi. In barely half a month, without some treacherous weapons or mysterious pills, his profound couldn't make such a breakthrough. In the past half month, those Shura blood guards had been with Shi Yang, so they clearly knew that he didn't use any pills. It's hard for them to believe that he advanced by a realm in such a short time. However, they could sense Shi Yang's spirit power, which could only be possessed by a disaster realm warrior. The two Shura blood guards were confused, so they asked together, "Yes, I am in the disaster realm." Shi Yang nodded with a confused smile. "Maybe it's because the immortal pill wasn't entirely absorbed before, and I just finished absorbing it just now?" The origin of the mysterious martial spirit was a mystery, and its function was vicious, which was his biggest secret. So he made up that explanation. The two Shura blood guards were confused, so they praised him and stopped asking any more questions. "What is the situation like outside right now?" Shi Yang changed the topic. "The Ling family and Mo family are finished. Their family heads and experts were all slaughtered. Bu Bo, from the poisonous Dragon Valley, was killed by Lord Xiao. Right now, he is with the Shi family experts, slaughtering the Beiming family. 9 of us blood guards stayed here to protect young Master Yang. The area outside is already a land of death. Now that young Master Yang has woken up, we can go back to the Shi family, and wait for Lord Xiao, then head back to the Endless Sea." "Okay." Shi Yang nodded, and got off the bed leisurely. "Young Master Yang, what about them?" one of the Shura blood guards asked. Getting off the bed, Shi Yang frowned and glanced at Ling Xiaofeng, then turned his eyes to Mo Yenyu. Pondering for a while, Shi Yang walked out slowly. With his back facing to the two Shura blood guards, he calmly said, "You know what to do." "Got it." Outside, 7 young family Shura blood guards were sitting straight on the cyan bloodbats, along with Xia Xinyan, who was wearing a veil. Seeing Shi Yang walk out of the room, Xia Xinyan grunted, and a cold light crossed her beautiful eyes. Shi Yang was unmoved, and he leisurely walked to the cyan bloodbat. After getting on the cyan bloodbat, he glanced at Xia Xinyan. "Why are you here?" Xia Xinyan frowned and grunted, not saying a word. Shaking his head softly, Shi Yang didn't utter a word, but patted the cyan bloodbat and told the Shura blood guards, "Let's go back to the Shi family." "Okay." That warrior kicked the cyan bloodbat's neck. After that, the cyan bloodbat moved and shot forward with Shi Yang on its back, heading toward the Shi family residence. Seeing Shi Yang become a small spot, Xia Xinyang's eyes took on a complicated look, and she sighed softly. Under the bright moonlight, Shi Yang was sitting up straight on the cyan bloodbat, slowly heading back to the Shi family residence. Shuttling through the clouds, The cyan blood bat soon reached upon the Godstone Square. All of a sudden, Shi Yang's star martial spirit became agitated, and his heart started producing starry light. In an instant, Shi Yang became last bright as a star, giving off intense light. The starlight became like a curtain, and slowly flew toward the magical stone on the Godstone Square. All the Shura blood guards on cyan blood bats got confused and looked down towards the Godstone in wonder. Boom! A huge blast resounded in Shi Yang's mind, and, the next moment, he couldn't control the power from the stars anymore. The power rushed out of his body and combined with the curtain. The curtain kept expanding and moving toward the magical stone. Bright moonlight descended from above. The moonlight turned into cool air, and fell onto the starlight curtain. And the shining curtain thrust itself towards the Godstone. Once the starry curtain touched the Godstone, it was instantly absorbed by the stone. The Godstone, after absorbing the light of the stars, started glittering, looking crystal and cold. Sitting up straight on the cyan blood bat, Shi Yang's expression became surprised as he gazed at that magical stone. This Godstone must have something to do with the three gods sect. Shi Yang came to this conclusion right away. The star martial spirit originated from the god of stars of the three gods sect. The god of stars refined his star martial spirit into the original seal, and he must have done something else. Now that the star martial spirit's energy had turned into a curtain and fallen into the Godstone, he knew that there was some special connection between them. Young Master Yang. The Shura blood guard beside him freaked out and seemed to remember something. There is a seal of the moon god on the Godstone. Seal of the moon god? Shi Yang frowned, and then found that on the Godstone there were several crescent patterns on its surface. The patterns were shining and moving on the Godstone. The huge Godstone suddenly began to crack, while dazzling light shot out from the crack. Young Master Yang, be careful, the warrior cried. Leave. Moonlight came out from the Godstone, like sharp weapons, and shattered all the stone houses near the square. The divine light stabbed into the earth, and made an unfathomable crack. Shi Yang was frightened too, and he quickly operated his profound chi to form a dark light shield. Ka. The Godstone, which had stood there for thousands of years, began to crack. Chapter 118, The Goddess of the Moon. Chapter 118, The Goddess of the Moon. Let's go. The warrior on the cyan blood bat shouted, and strongly stomped on the back of the cyan blood bat. The cyan blood bat dashed out like an arrow, while the remaining Shura blood guards turned pale and urged their cyan blood bats to fly toward the Shi family residence. Shi Yang was shocked. What's wrong? The three gods sect is our adversary, and I felt a dangerous aura from the Godstone. Whoever that had revived must be an important member of the three gods sect. Once they see the cyan blood bats, they will know that we are from the Yang family. Since Lord Xiao is not here, we are not sure if we can protect young Master Yang from them. The Yang family warrior beside Shi Yang looked serious and alert. The three gods sect. Why the three gods sect again? Shi Yang frowned, and had a bit of fear for the endless sea form. Although he wanted to see what would happen to the Godstone, after he heard what the warrior said, Shi Yang chose to leave with the cyan blood bat. But he turned back several times to watch the Godstone Square. All of a sudden, a stream of strong moonlight exploded from the Godstone Square. With the huge thunderous sound, a mysterious woman in a white warrior gown appeared in the Godstone Square. From a distance, Shi Yang found that the woman was extraordinarily pretty, just like a moon goddess with snow-white skin. That woman floated in the air upon the Godstone Square for a while, and then turned into moonlight and flew eastward. A Sky Realm expert. The warrior beside Shi Yang spoke with fear. It's lucky that we left early, or else we would have been killed by her. She is even stronger than Uncle Xiao. Shi Yang couldn't believe it. I don't know if that is true, but her chi is no weaker than Lord Xiao's. That warrior deliberated. The three gods of the sun, moon, and star of the three gods sect have deep understanding of the numerous secret arts of the three gods sect. Even for Lord Xiao, it would be hard to compete with her. Shi Yang's expression changed. A cyan blood bat approached them, upon which sat Xia Xinyang. Xia Xinyang's eyes showed some surprise, as she yelled, "Shi Yang, what did you do?" "Nothing." Shi Yang frowned. "I went to the Godstone Square and my star martial spirit suddenly turned into a curtain of starlight, which flew out of my body and fell on that Godstone. Then the Godstone cracked with dazzling light and a woman came out from the stone." The Godstone had been there for 1,000 years. Xia Xinyan asked in surprise. Shi Yang nodded. "Yes, as far as I know, before the Tianyun city existed, that stone had been there. Tianyun city was named after that stone, a stone from the heavens. You know anything about it? Let's talk about it after meeting Lord Xiao." Xia Xinyang breath, as if recalling some horrible memory. Seeing her lost in thoughts, Shi Yang didn't ask further, though he had some concerns. The cyan bloodbat was flying swiftly. Soon, they arrived at the garden of the Shi family. Xiao Hani, Shi Jian, and the other people had not gotten back yet, so Shi Yang waited for them at the central plaza of the residence. At dawn, Xiao Hani, Shi Jian, Zhuo Shu, and others slowly flew back from the Beiming family. Looking at them, one can tell that it was a good slaughter in the Beiming family. "What?" Xiao Hani arrived, and just after a glance at Shi Yang, he cried out, "Young Master Yang, you." Under Xiao Hani's gaze, Shi Yang slowly nodded. "Well, maybe the immortal pill lasted longer than expected, so I advanced again." Shi Jian was stunned, looking at Shi Yang with unbelieving eyes. He yelled in delight, "Kid, you reached the disaster realm?" "Yeah. How did you manage that?" Zhuo Shu looked strange as he kept shaking his head. He couldn't take his unbelievable eyes off Shi Yang. "Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha." Xiao Hani bursted out into wild laughter. "Incredible. Ha ha. Incredible. 17 years old. The disaster realm. You can't even find such genius in the Yang family. Young Master Yang, I'm sure that the family head will treat you like a treasure once you get back." Hearing that, Shi Jian's smile disappeared, and he lowered his head and began to sigh. Shi Yang was so talented. If he stayed at the Shi family, then they will become the most powerful family in the Merchant Union, and may even rival the royal families of the Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire. 17 years old, in the disaster realm. Even Beiming CE couldn't make it. At the thought of Shi Yang leaving the Shi family for the Endless Sea, Shi Jian was filled with pain, but he knew he couldn't stop it. "Lord Xiao, just now, when we were at the Godstone Square, that warrior told him everything." Xiao Hani's face changed, and was filled with astonishment. After a long while, Xiao Hani looked at Xia Xinyan, and said in a serious voice, "Little Xia, what do you think? 1,000 years ago, the 3 gods went to the 7th Dark World with many disciples. After the battle with the Dark King, Abi, only the Sun God returned. The Star God and the Moon God went missing and never showed up in the Endless Sea again. The Star God, Ouyang left the fake gate of heaven in the dead swamp and preserved the original seal of martial spirit, but the Moon God, Ouyang Xiahua, went missing. Maybe she is that woman from the stone? Impossible." Xiao Hani shook his head, and interrupted Xia Xinyan. The Moon God Ouyang Xiahua was a god realm warrior. Though she had iced herself for 1,000 years, she kept her perception. According to your description, that woman was merely at the sky realm. It wouldn't be Ouyang Xiahua. I heard that Ouyang Xiahua had a daughter, named Ouyang Luoshuang. She also went to the 7th Dark World, but she was only a 21-year-old girl. Maybe that woman is her? Ouyang Luoshuang? Xiao Hani suddenly realized something. It's very likely. She was at the disaster realm 1,000 years ago. The moon god must have had been badly hurt in the 7th Dark World, so she escaped with her daughter, and sealed her in the Godstone, to shield her. If it's her, then the 3 gods sect strength will definitely increase. Why? Shi Yang asked. The Sun Martial Spirit, Moon Martial Spirit, and the Star Martial Spirit could directly absorb the energy of the Sun, Moon, and stars. The more the energy they absorbed, the faster the martial spirits developed. In the 3 gods sect, generally, the older the warrior is, the higher level his martial spirit is. Because the older warrior had absorbed more energy, so their spirit can easily evolve. Xia Xinyang took a breath. If that mysterious woman really is Ouyang Luoshuang, then she must have absorbed the energy from the moon for 1,000 years. We can't even begin to guess how powerful her moon martial spirit has become. In the past, she was one of the godchildren, and now, after 1,000 years, her moon martial spirit much have reached an unprecedented state. In the battle 1,000 years ago, the three gods sect lost a lot. Though the sun god managed to stay alive, but he died after 300 years. However, during that period he created a new sun god. But there have been no new moon or star gods ever since then. But the three gods sect is still one of the strongest powerhouses in the Endless Sea. If Ouyang Luoshuang goes back to the Endless Sea, she will be the strongest moon god ever. The three gods sect will gain much more strength. Xiao Hani sighed. Silently, Shi Yang listened to Xiao Hani and Xia Xinyang's conversation, and he became more curious about the three gods sect. Shi Yang obtained the star martial spirit. If he could join the three gods sect, and obtain the knowledge to use their martial spirits, he could be the next star god. Xia Xinyang pondered, and suddenly said to Shi Yang, the star god is very special in the three gods sect. If the three gods sect doesn't know who Shi Yang is, and they teach him everything they know, then… Xiao Hani's eyes lit up, as he nodded, but it is up to the family head to decide. Sending young Master Yang to the three gods sect for cultivate the star martial spirit. It's very risky. Shi Yang belongs to the Yang family, it's up to you to decide. That was just my humble suggestion. Xia Xinyan said calmly. Shi family head, I plan to stay for a few days, but now, since things have changed, we have to return to the Endless Sea early. Now that the Ling, Mo, and Beiming families have been slaughtered, I believe you can manage everything. Xiao Hani pondered for a while, then he took out 2 books from his chest and handed them to Shi Jian. Here are 2 spirit-level martial skills, which may be of benefit, and this is how you can contact the Yang family. You can tell Ku Luo of the Misty Pavilion, if you get into any trouble, and we will know of it. Shi Jian was surprised and happy. After receiving the books, he didn't know what to say. Young Master Yang, we have to set off as soon as possible. Xiao Hani looked at Shi Yang. Let me have a little time with my father. Shi Yang nodded and quietly left. Half an hour later, Shi Yang said goodbye to the Shi family, and jumped on Xiao Hani's cyan bloodbat. Before dawn broke, Shi Yang was riding the cyan bloodbat eastward to the Endless Sea. Chapter 119, The Devil King Bo Zun. Chapter 119, The Devil King Bo Zun. Upon the vast blue sea was a cloudless sky. The soft wind caressed their faces, making them feel comfortable and relaxed. The Endless Sea was so boundless that one would only see the water and sky, no matter where they looked. The group of cyan bloodbats was flying east through the blue sky. It had been 2 months. For the 2 months, Shi Yang sat on the cyan bloodbat and saw the vastness of the Endless Sea. He rarely saw any islands, though he did see slowly moving ships from time to time. Shura King Xiao Hani was a fanatic for training. Apart from telling Shi Yang the dangers of the Endless Sea, the rest of his time was devoted to training. The Endless Sea was mysterious. Shi Yang had seen both serene and peaceful skies and great violent storms in his few months of travel. In some regions, there were huge whirlpools, which seemed to reach down to the deepest depths of the sea. From the swirls, there came horrible bellows of vicious monsters. According to Xiao Hani, even by riding the cyan bloodbat, one needed more than half a year to reach the Kira region, where the Yang family was located. In merely 2 months, the cyan bloodbat had already flown thousands of miles, which was larger than the Merchant Union, the God-blessed Empire, and the Tianyun Empire combined. Xia Xinyang was sitting on another cyan bloodbat with the 2 towering men, talking very little. Ever since Shi Yang broke into that new couple's bridal room and did those dark things, Xia Xinyang had despised him a lot, to the point of being not willing to talk to him. Shi Yang didn't bother to explain but, instead, kept exploring how to utilize the profound qi at Disaster Realm. Although, the Disaster Realm and the human realm were only 1 level apart, the power of each level was extremely different. At the Disaster Realm, he already had spirit power. This spirit power could extend out and observe other living things. It could also be infused into martial skills and weapons to attack enemies. In addition, when he focused his senses inward, he could see every detail of his body, as if he had a pair of eyes inside. He could see his veins and entrails with clarity. This excited Shi Yang and encouraged him to keep exploring its uses. Every time Xiao Hani woke up, he would generally instruct Shi Yang on how to use the spirit power. Shi Yang knew Xiao Hani was being kind to him. If he had any questions on his mind, he could simply ask Xiao Hani. That day, the sunny sky was suddenly filled with dark clouds. The air was so suppressing that even the cyan bloodbats were unsettled, and they cried angrily every now and then. Xia Xinyang's cyan blood bat approached. Behind her veil, her eyes looked elegant. After she approached, she didn't talk, but quietly gazed at Xiao Hani. Before long, Xiao Hani woke up from his training. After looking up at the cloudy sky, Xiao Hani said seriously, "It's quite abnormal, and I certainly don't feel anything good from this. Something bad is going to happen. Uncle Xiao, you are at the second sky of Sky Realm, your perception should be accurate." Xia Xinyang's beautiful hair was flying in the wind as she stood up on her cyan bloodbat and observed the sky. "My reincarnation martial spirit is sensitive to the power of space. I can, vaguely, feel that the space around us is cracking." Xiao Hani's face changed. "We'd better be careful. Somehow, I feel something ominous is coming." Xia Xinyang reminded. "Space is cracking?" Xiao Hani looked gloomy. "Little Xia, you really feel the abnormity?" Xia Xinyang nodded. "Uncle Xiao, though my realm is lower than you, my reincarnation martial spirit can feel it. I'm afraid there will be a disaster." Shi Yang was shocked, as he hesitated and asked, "Space is cracking? What kind of power can crack the space?" One must be at least at the third sky of the Sky Realm. Only warriors who had reached God realms could truly tear apart space. Xiao Hani's eyes blinked. Years ago, when the family head sent young Master Hai out of the fourth demon area, he also cracked open space. At that time, he was then at the third sky of the Sky Realm, just a step away from the God realm. He managed that with the help of immortal blood. Immortal blood? Shi Yang was astonished. Warriors with the immortal martial spirit can produce immortal blood, which has so many great uses that even I don't know all that one can do with it. However, when young Master Yang gets back to the Yang family, the family head will explain it to you. Xiao Hani explained. Shi Yang nodded. At that moment, from the dense dark clouds, black light shot out, and a huge white bone hand suddenly appeared. That huge hand shined like crystal, and seemed to be without any flesh, as it destroyed the space around it. An intense devil air gushed out of the white bone hand, which stirred the air with depressing power. Demon King Bozun's bone skill. Xiao Hani was terrified, as quickly yelled, "He came for me. Little Xia, take young Master Yang away. Papapi." Before that white bone hand had even gotten close, the horrible devil air had already reached them. One after another, cyan bloodbats fell from the sky, having been turned into minced meat. On the cyan bloodbats, those Nirvana real warriors exploded, with their flesh and blood flying everywhere. The overwhelming devil air suddenly invaded Shi Yang's body. The devil air started rampaging through Shi Yang's body, trying to kill him. At the same time, Shi Yang's heart was started putting out a dazzling starlight, while all his negative energy gushed out, like a flood. Even that yin pearl began spinning, forming a yin swirl, and sending out yin qi, which quickly covered Shi Yang's body. Colorful light shot out from Shi Yang's body, clashing with the devil air, and stopping its advance. Without hesitation, Xia Xinyang operated her reincarnation martial spirit. After absorbing the energy of reincarnation, she instantly stepped into the Sky Realm. The huge hand slowly approached them, and the cyan bloodbats and Shura bloodguards died, one after the other. Shura King Xiao Hani looked extremely hideous. As he stirred his bloody qi, 3 broad rivers appeared and attacked the huge hand. In the dense, dark clouds, a black hole appeared and started to devour everything. "Little Xia, leave with young Master Yang." Xiao Hani's eyes had turned bloodshot, and he shouted out his order. Xia Xinyang was frightened, and she flew over and grabbed Shi Yang by his neck, flying away from there. In the darkness, that huge white bone hand seemed to, again, tear apart the space around it. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 blood rivers struck on the huge white bone hand, but they couldn't prevent its advance. As the 5 fingers curled, the 3 blood rivers were knocked miles away. Bang, The huge hand came near and snatched up all the people around Xiao Hani. Even Xiao Hani himself couldn't get rid of that huge hand, and he was soon caught by that huge hand too. That huge hand seemed not to waste any time, so after catching all the people, it withdrew, and sank back into that black hole, which was filled with devil air. The white hand retreated back into the black hole, and numerous streams of devil light shot out, like weapons. Some devil light fell into the endless sea, and quickly stirred up a huge whirlpool, reaching to the bottom of the seas. Shi Yang was shocked, and he gazed at the huge hand, dumbstruck. He watched the black hole contract, little by little, until it finally disappeared. After the devil light disappeared, the dense clouds also dissipated. Before long, the sky was restored back to its formerly clear self. Meanwhile, the sea below was in the throes of a huge whirlpool, which had begun to tear the seas asunder. Xia Xinyang carried Shi Yang and flew away, not looking back. Shi Yang was surprised, and he gazed at the scene behind him, feeling small in front of such a disaster. Chapter 120, Crossing the Sea with a Beauty. Chapter 120, Crossing the Sea with a Beauty. As he was being carried by Xia Xinyang over the vast sea, Shi Yang was filled with shock. That huge hand, which had torn through space, had carried a massive amount of devil air, so much so that it could grab Xiao Hani, who was at the second sky of the sky realm, and take him away. That incredible power horrified Shi Yang, as he realized that he still had a long way to go in his martial arts. Still lost in his thoughts, Shi Yang, suddenly, felt that he was sinking. His expression changed. Shi Yang quickly looked at Xia Xinyan, only to find that she had a bit of blood on her neck, which must have come from her mouth. "Are you hurt?" Shi Yang asked, concern in his voice. "A stream of devil light was shot here, and I had trouble defending against it, so my heart and lungs were wounded." Xia Xinyan replied calmly, "My reincarnation martial spirit is disappearing. Once it runs out, I won't even be at the disaster realm of power." "You. God bless you." Shi Yang was astonished. From his view, he couldn't even see a single island or ship. It would take a great amount of luck to survive this. He thought that Xia Xinyan would be able to take him to an island before her reincarnation martial spirit was used up. That hopeful thought of his disappeared. "I'm finished." Xia Xinyan's body shook, and a bit of regret flashed in her eyes. She glanced at Shi Yang and mocked, "I can't believe I'm dying with a goat." Then Xia Xinyan's soft body went down, and her hands, which were holding onto Shi Yang, began to lose their strength. With a rigid face, Shi Yang grabbed Xia Xinyan's hand and fell into the sea with her. Splash! Shi Yang and Xia Xinyang sunk a few dozen meters into the sea before they slowly stopped sinking. Salty sea water gushed into Shi Yang's mouth and nose, which made it hard for him to breathe. Xia Xinyan was hurt by the devil light, and her reincarnation martial spirit had been completely used up, so she fainted right away. In the middle of the sea, Shi Yang held his breath, wrapped his arms around Xia Xinyan, and kicked his legs to swim to the surface. Pooh! Shi Yang popped out of the sea and took a greedy breath of the fresh air. Floating on the sea with Xia Xinyan in his arms, he was at a loss about what he should do. On the vast sea, he had to endlessly move his legs, and use his profound qi, to keep both of their heads above the water, but his profound qi would be used up if he couldn't find an island to rest. Then both of them would drown. Floating on the sea, Shi Yang looked around, yet all he saw was the boundless sea. In his arms, Xia Xinyan's veil slipped down, and he could finally see her delicate face. Her gown was wet with water, making it stick to her body and revealing a lot, which was very appealing. Holding Xia Xinyan in his arms and feeling her supple curves, even in this desperate state, Shi Yang was turned on. Xia Xinyan was a rare, gorgeous woman, and now that her attractive body was this close to him, Shi Yang was having trouble focusing on his current situation. Shi Yang kept taking deep breaths, trying not to think about Xia Xinyan's hot body, and, after a few minutes, he finally managed to calm himself down. "I must find somewhere to stand." With a serious face, Shi Yang released his spirit power and extended it in all directions. He sensed that there were a lot of fish swimming in the sea. However, within 1,000 miles, he couldn't find any land to stand on. Treading the water, Shi Yang's eyes blinked. He made up his mind and began to move east. Turning Xia Xinyan over, Shi Yang carried her on his back. 2 plump orbs were pushing against his back, which, again, stirred up ripples in Shi Yang's body. The woman on his back had the top appearance and hottest body he had seen, and her reserved personality was also quite attractive. But now she had her eyes closed and was leaning against his back. Though Shi Yang kept telling himself that it was not the time to think wildly, his mind was controlled by this gorgeous woman on his back. Carrying Xia Xinyan on his back, Shi Yang began to operate his profound qi, making him swim faster and faster. Meanwhile, he used his spirit power to guide him. During that process, he still needed to fight against his lust with his reason. The sun disappeared into the clouds and the moon climbed up high into the sky. The power of the stars went into Shi Yang's body and concentrated in his heart. Unfortunately, he couldn't use his star martial spirit. 1 day passed. Shi Yang was still swimming eastward while carrying Xia Xinyan on his back. Another day passed. Shi Yang still kept swimming, yet now his profound qi was almost used up. His spirit power had already been used up, so he couldn't perceive his surroundings anymore. Now he had to move forward and hope he was lucky enough to come across an island. Even finding a rock would be a blessing. He would be fully satisfied if he found a place to set his feet on and recover his profound qi. In the sea, he didn't dare stop swimming or he would sink. Another day went by. Now he had very little profound qi left in his body, and Xia Xinyan was still in a coma with disordered profound qi in her body. That day, Shi Yang was so exhausted that he was wondering if he needed to use his negative energy. Once he used the negative energy, he would move fast for some time. But the repercussions would also exhaust him. Then he would definitely sink. He had thought about using the yin pearl, but it wasn't currently compatible with his profound qi. The star martial spirit gained strength from the stars, but without the martial spirit creed from the 3 gods sect, he could hardly control it. Late night. The moon was like a plate in the starry sky, and the sea breeze caressed his skin. But Shi Yang was not in the mood to enjoy the beauty as his profound qi was about to run out. If he still couldn't come up with any ideas, then he would sink into the sea before dawn. Shi Yang had already made up his mind that he would operate his negative energy as soon as his profound qi ran out. Shi Yang. Suddenly, a woman's soft whisper came from his back. Shi Yang's so glad that he instantly turned his head around. Xia Xinyan leaned against Shi Yang's back, and her head was laying on his left shoulder. As Shi Yang turned around, his lips just happened to press on hers. Shi Yang felt as if he was struck by lightning, and his eyes were soon filled with desire. However, he quickly turned his neck and kept some distance from Xia Xinyan's cherry-red lips. Xia Xinyan's eyes were filled with wrath and stared at him coldly. Not on purpose. Shi Yang was relaxed. I was carrying you on my back all this time. I could have done anything I wanted to. Xia Xinyang's expression changed a little, and she tried to struggle off Shi Yang's back. Her breasts then rubbed on Shi Yang's back, making Shi Yang much hornier. Stop, don't move. Shi Yang suffered while trying to stop Xia Xinyan, and he spoke quickly, his face blushing. You'd better not move if you don't want to die. The desire in Shi Yang's eyes made Xia Xinyan realize it was inappropriate. In just an instant, her pale face blushed as bright as an apple. Xia Xinyan was so shy. Being the pride of the Xia family, she had diligently trained from a young age. For these years, she had devoted herself to training, and never took any interest in a man. However, today she was leaning on this goat, her breasts pressing against his back. Xia Xinyan felt so ashamed that she would have killed Shi Yang, if it were not for the fact that she had no energy right now. Staring at Shi Yang, Xia Xinyan's cheeks turned more and more red, and the pace of her breaths quickened. Her shame and anger building, she was getting ready to kill Shi Yang. Shi Yang's expression turned weird, and his eyes were smoldering with lust. Are you turned on? Shut up. Xia Xinyan went into a rage. It's anger. Why are you so perverted? Shi Yang was not angry at all, and he continued, well, I don't think we will live through the night. You are so hot, and it would be a shame to die a virgin. I would be very glad to serve you right now. Shut up. Xia Xinyang struggled, and yelled, don't touch me. Put me down. Let me drown while I am still pure. At that moment Shi Yang cried out, "We are saved!" Dash. Chapter 121 A Man and a Woman Alone. Chapter 121 A Man and a Woman Alone. On an isolated island. The island was small, about the size of a large soccer field, and the air around it was humid. There were no living things in sight, except for some small trees. In the immeasurable endless sea, this isolated island was too small, but it brought a hope of survival to Shi Yang. Carrying Xia Xinyan to this island, Shi Yang felt a little relieved. It was the kind of happiness that only those who survived disaster could feel. Putting Xia Xinyan down, Shi Yang sprawled out on the beach, laying down on the sands, and not wanting to move a bit. He was exhausted. He had not rested once the past few days, and his profound qi had almost run out. Very few people could endure in an environment like that. It was only thanks to his stamina and strong profound qi that he had made it. Xia Xinyan was at his side, tired and lifeless. Some 3 meters away from him, Shi Yang turned and looked at her, and then teased, "Well, it seems you can't die a virgin now." Xia Xinyan's expression changed and a cold light crossed her eyes. "How dare you?" Right now, her energy had not recovered and she couldn't use her profound qi. She would be unable to respond if Shi Yang did something to her. At the thought of Shi Yang's disposition, she was a little worried, though her face showed no fear. Ha 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 ha. Shi Yang laughed wildly. Xia Xinyan was both pissed and scared, because she didn't know what Shi Yang would do, so she tried to keep some distance from him. Shi Yang wasn't planning on doing anything to her, but seeing her on alert, he came up with an idea to tease her. On the beach, Shi Yang rolled his body and approached Xia Xinyan. In an instant, he was only a half a meter away from Xia Xinyan, his hot eyes gazing into her crystal-like eyes. Shi Yang looked at her teasingly. "Running away? You think you can run away? Xinyan, who would win if we fought right now? I remember that you said that you would marry me if I won." "Shameless!" Xia Xinyan yelled, "Stay away from me, or I won't let you go peacefully when I recover." "I wouldn't have waited till now if I do want to do something to you," Shi Yang said. He seemed to think a bit before he spoke again. "You think you would have left safely when you were in the rain pavilion?" That time. Why? Xia Xinyan asked curiously. When in the rain pavilion, Shi Yang found 2 girls to serve him, yet he never touched her. Meanwhile, according to her observations, Shi Yang was a devil, since he raped Ling Xiaofeng's bride in front of him. Xia Xinyan was horrified every time she thought about that. But, back in the rain pavilion, Shi Yang saw her pretty face, yet didn't do anything, which confused her a lot. "Why do I have to touch you?" Shi Yang showed a rare seriousness. "I'm a man with a lot of lust. It's okay to go to a brothel. As for that Mo Yenyu, I almost died at her hands. Of course I wanted to get revenge. Ling Xiaofeng also attacked my father, who was not even a warrior. They deserved it." Pausing for a moment, Shi Yang glanced over at Xia Xinyan. "As for you, apart from pushing me to join the Xia family, you did nothing bad to me. I'm not a kind guy, but I'm not a devil either." Xia Xinyan went silent. After quite a while, Xia Xinyan said, "I hope that's the truth." Shi Yang nodded, a beaming smile on his face. "I'm not a gentleman, nor a monster. By the way, how are you now? You recovered very fast previously. What's up now?" "The nutrition pills I had have been used up." Xia Xinyan sighed. "Without them, I will need at least 3 months to recover. I was also seriously hurt this time, so I need at least 3 days to soothe my profound qi." "Okay, focus on stabling your profound qi then, and I will go prepare some food." Shi Yang nodded, then looked up at the sky. "I will take a rest first, then I will go in search for something to eat." Then Shi Yang took a deep breath, sat down in fatigue, and began to operate his profound qi. Xia Xinyan stayed on the beach, laying on her left side. Her long legs looked quite appealing. In meditation, Shi Yang now looked as stable as a mountain. What kind of person is he? After a long while, Xia Xinyan shook her head, turned her eyes away from him, and concentrated on her profound qi. Not knowing how long had it been, Shi Yang woke up quietly and looked up into the sky. The sunlight hurt his eyes. The sun was heating. Shi Yang stood up, feeling refreshed. Most of his lost profound chi had come back, and his fatigue had also disappeared. Turning back, he found Xia Xinyan still lying on her side, but her robe had dried. Her smooth curves, long legs, and white skin were exquisite under the sunlight. Watching her greedily, Shi Yang took a deep breath and jumped into the sea. A quarter of an hour later, Shi Yang returned with 2 fish in his hands. Then he walked up to Xia Xinyan and coughed softly. Xia Xinyan's eyelashes trembled, then she opened her eyes. She seemed to have gained some of her profound chi back, as she sat up and glanced at Shi Yang. What? Do you have firestone? Yes. Xia Xinyan touched the green ring on her finger and, with an odd flash of light, a firestone appeared in her palm. Throwing that firestone to Shi Yang, she stood up slowly, blushing. She walked to a small tree nearby and demanded, "I need to get changed, don't peep." "Okay." Shi Yang nodded, joy in his eyes. That tree was only as thick as his thigh. Xia Xinyan walked behind the tree and took off her robe. The tree was too thin to cover her body, so her curves were clearly seen by Shi Yang. Xia Xinyan took off her robe and covered her chest with an arm, yet her ass was still visible. Her ass was plump and smooth, which turned Shi Yang on. In a second, it was covered by Xia Xinyan's green skirt. Feeling relieved, Xia Xinyan took a deep breath and moved away from the tree. After a glance at Shi Yang, Xia Xinyan was angered as she saw something poking up between Shi Yang's legs. Bastard! Shi Yang quickly stood up. Under Xia Xinyan's angry eyes, Shi Yang looked calm. "I didn't peep. I looked." "What? It's no big deal." "No big deal? See what happened to you down there." Xia Xinyan was so furious that thoughts of killing him started forming again. "Well, I'm just potent. That happens to it after a few days without a woman." Shi Yang chuckled and then dashed over to a withered tree. You dash. You dash." Xia Xinyan was so angry she couldn't even speak correctly. Ever since she was a little girl, every man was polite in front of her. They would talk about poetry, laws, or cultivation, but nothing dirty like this. Only this guy went to brothels, talked about dirty things, and tried to flirt with her. She felt humiliated. However, being trapped in such a nasty environment, and not having any power, all she could do was feel angry. Before long, Shi Yang came back with a bunch of tree branches in his arms, acting like nothing had happened. He lit the branches with the fire stone and began to roast the fish. The scent of meat wafted through the air. "Hungry? Then have something to eat. You can shout as much as you like if you are still mad at me. No one would ever know. Since I did see your body, it's okay if you curse me." Shi Yang giggled, turned a fish over, and handed it to Xia Xinyan. "I'm not hungry." Xia Xinyan turned away coldly. Just then, her stomach began to growl loudly. "Hee hee." Shi Yang smirked and walked up, pushing the fish into her hand, and teased, "What for? Just a glance, what's the big deal? Or should I take responsibility and marry you?" "Shut up." Xia Xinyan grabbed the roasted fish, and glared at him. "Never mind, I should understand you by now." "Yeah. I'm a bad guy, a very malicious guy." Shi Yang didn't care at all, and he tore his fish apart and wolfed it down. "Barbaric." Xia Xinyan cursed. Then she took out a knife and began to eat her fish. Chapter 122, The Yin-Yang Wonderland. Chapter 122, The Yin-Yang Wonderland. On a deserted island in the ocean. Having grilled fish to eat, lightened both Shi Yang's and Xia Xinyan's moods. Especially Xia Xinyan, whose face became much warmer as soon as the grilled fish entered her stomach. After Shi Yang ate his fill, he pondered for a moment, and suddenly took out a small bottle from his bag. He went to the water's edge, by himself, and poured a grey powder from the bottle into the sea. He mixed the powder well with the seawater and thoroughly scrubbed his face with it. After a while, Shi Yang returned to Xia Xinyan's side. Her eyes widened, then she snorted dismissively, "Such a deceiver. So this is your true face, huh?" Back in the Shi family, in order to conceal his identity in the martial competition, he had sought for a disguise artist to change his looks. But now, as he was in the endless sea, leaving the Beiming, Ling, and Mo families far behind, he had no reason to conceal his true features. Thus, He removed his disguise. Without the disguise, Shi Yang's looks were quite different. The dark-toned skin became lighter, and the bushy black brows became thinner, like sharp swords which cut through his forehead. His face became a little more angular and less rugged, but with more cold and fierce features. He had a unique, unyielding, and imposing visage. Shi Yang wasn't an extremely handsome man, but he had a special quality, which gave people strong-minded, direct, and fierce impression. Xia Xinyan glanced at him a few more times, and then said, "The look you have right now fits your arrogant and despicable nature." Shi Yang was stunned. So he asked, "Are you complimenting or insulting me? What do you think?" Shi Yang shook his head, as he didn't want to haggle over with her on this topic. His expression slowly darkened, and he suddenly asked, "That demon king Bozun, who exactly is he?" Whenever he thought about that frightening figure, Shi Yang shuddered in his mind. Being able to rip through space and take away the sky realm Shura King, Xiao Han Yi. The master of such earth-shaking powers had made a deep impact on him. Bozun is one of the 2 demon kings in the 4th demon area. Whenever Shi Yang mentioned this terrifying master, Xia Xinyan's expression turned gloomy. In the 4th demon area, there are 2 demon kings, named Bozun and Kai Yang. Both of them are nigh invincible. Their demon powers are unfathomable and infinite. It is said that they are both on the verge of stepping into the true God realm. Demons can also cultivate. Do they have the same rankings that we do? Shi Yang was surprised. Of course. Xia Xinyan nodded, and explained, not only demons but even the dark dwellers of the sevenfold underworld can cultivate. But, whether it be the demons or the dark dwellers, the powers they gather are different than ours. The demons live in the demon area and they absorb natural demon energy. The dark dwellers, living in the sevenfold underworld, absorb natural dark energy. Demon energy and dark energy are like the natural spirit energies we have here. There are also clusters of these energies that exist in this world. Other than demons and dark dwellers, there are also some foreign clans in the Endless Sea, who also cultivate in spirit energies that are different than ours. But be it the demon energy, dark energy, or spirit energies, they are all different kinds of natural powers. The cultivation of warriors, no matter what spirit energies, are mostly the same. Xia Xinyan slowly informed Shi Yang of all the common knowledge in the Endless Sea. She mentioned the demons and the dark dwellers, and the differences between the God domain and the Grace mainland. The demon king Bozun, Shi Yang frowned. Why did he attack Uncle Xiao? Back in the day, the head of the Yang family, Yang Qing Di, brought powerful warriors from the Yang family into the 4th demon area. They killed a demon master in the 4th demon area. I believe Master Xiao should have told you about this. Yes. That demon master was under the command of the demon king Bozun. In the 4th demon area, there are 4 demon masters. 2 of which follow the demon king Kai Yang, and 2 of whom are devoted followers of the demon king Bozun. Yang Qing Di killed one of Bozun's demon masters, so of course Bozun would go against the Yang family. Bozun is on the verge of stepping into the true God realm, so even if he were to attack, he would have gone for the head of the Yang family. Why go for Uncle Xiao? Shi Yang was very confused. Who said Bozun had to attack? Xia Xinyan glared at Shi Yang, then said coldly, that giant white skeletal hand was only one of the 3 skeletal avatars of Bozun. Although the skeletal avatars are pieces of Bozun, they're not his main body. Bozun's original body has always been in the cave of 1,000 demons. He won't easily come out. If that were really the main body of Demon King Bozun that attacked us, do you think you and I could have really escaped? What? Shi Yang was shocked. You're saying that that giant bone hand, out of the 3 of Bozun's skeletal avatars, was only the hand of one of them? That's right. Shi Yang's heart was shaken. Only a hand of one of the skeletal avatars was able to cause so much movement in the Endless Sea. It ripped through space, and directly grabbed Xiao Han Yi. If it were the Demon King Bozun himself, how much power would that be? Xia Xinyan seemed to know the shock in his heart, so she didn't rush to speak, and instead she only looked at him. After a long time, the look in Shi Yang's eyes became firm, and he said, "That certainly is a terror. I really hope I will one day be able to fight with the Demon King Bozun." Xia Xinyan was stunned, and her beautiful eyes were filled with strange emotions. You're only in the first sky of the disaster realm, how could you dare to rave about fighting with Bozun? Even after 100 years, you will still be unable to go against one of the skeletal avatars of Bozun. The young family members sure are all arrogant. None of you know what you're worth. Shi Yang smiled, I'm still young, and I have plenty of time to catch up. One day, maybe I can also become known in all the heavens, and can split the skies with my bare hands. Xia Xinyan was silent, but, after a while, she finally nodded lightly. She didn't say much, but inside, her view of Shi Yang had changed. For an ordinary warrior, after seeing the invincible power of the Demon King Bozun, it would probably leave an everlasting shadow in his mind. Let alone fighting with the Demon King Bozun, maybe they would have been occasionally affected by the shadow in their mind while cultivating, and would never be able to get rid of that shadow. But Shi Yang's mind was as solid as stone. Not only was he not afraid, instead, his monstrous will to fight was activated, growing to have the arrogant thought of one day battling with the Demon King Bozun. With such disposition, as long as his luck and talent could follow through, he would surely someday stand on top of the world. Is Uncle Xiao going to be okay? Shi Yang suddenly sighed, and said sadly, Uncle Xiao helped me out a lot in the Merchant Union, I really don't want anything to happen to him. Too bad my strength isn't enough, or else I would have definitely slaughtered all on the way to the 4th demon area and take Uncle Xiao back from Bozun's hands. I don't know either. Xia Xinyan shook her head, I'm afraid that even a skeletal avatar of Bozun is impossible for Master Xiao to defeat. Hopefully, the heavens would help a good man like Master Xiao, and help him survive through this disaster. Shi Yang's expression was full of frustration, he shook his head and sighed, then said, if anything happens to Uncle Xiao, one day, I will definitely avenge for him, and slaughter that Demon King Bozun. Xia Xinyan's face changed, she was more and more stunned by Shi Yang's arrogance. In the vast endless sea, there were many strong figures and countless powerful warriors, but none could dare say that they could slaughter Bozun. This guy is only in the disaster realm, having just stepped into the threshold of martial arts. While clearly knowing the monstrous evil powers of the Demon King Bozun, he could still speak of such arrogant things. Could he really be a madman? Shi Yang didn't explain, but this raving statement wasn't really that arrogant to him. There was no other real reason, but he was sure the mysterious martial spirit inside him would provide him with limitless potential. As long as he was constantly killing, he would naturally be absorbing negative energies, and could then transform them into extraordinary powers to nourish his martial spirit and profound qi. He only needed to kill several thousand people, and that would be equivalent to decades of heavy cultivation of an ordinary person. With this special feature of the mysterious martial spirit, one day, he would be able to talk face to face with the Demon King Bozun. Of course, he would never tell anyone else about this. The next 2 days, Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan both stayed on the deserted island. They survived by eating fish meat and drinking fish blood. The sea was endless, there were no flying demon beasts, nor were there any giant ships. It might as well have been wiser to stay on the island than to blindly leave. Xia Xinyan also approved of this. These past 2 days, other than eating together, they both cultivated on their own and did not disturb each other. Another day passed. Sitting on the sand, Shi Yang extended his mind's power, and he suddenly sensed an object in the distance. Instantly his expression bloomed, as he quickly stood up and shouted to Xia Xinyan, there's a ship. Xia Xinyan came over from the other side of the island and followed Shi Yang to gaze, looking out to the east. In 15 minutes, an enormous iron ship slowly appeared. The iron ship's flag flew in the ocean wind, looking majestic. Ah! Aarth! Shi Yang screamed loudly. His shriek pierced through the sky, like the howls of wolves. Xia Xinyan frowned and covered her ears, cursing him in her mind. She glared at him bitterly. That enormous iron ship seemed to have heard the calls, and slowly started sailing towards them. Shi Yang waved his arms and continued screaming. Hey! He suddenly exclaimed, there was a shady look on his face as he chuckled, Xinyan, that ship seems quite interesting. On that giant steel ship hung many flags. Lifelike erotic images were embroidered on each of the flags. There was a couple in the wheelbarrow position, a couple in the lotus position, a couple in the flower on the back position, and many more like this. Under the blowing of ocean wind, those erotic images flew wildly. The lifelike men and women on those erotic images looked as if they were coming to life and showing great vigor. Xia Xinyan flushed, and she suddenly thought of something, exclaiming, "The ship is from the yin-yang wonderland." Then, Xia Xinyan quickly touched the green jade ring on her finger and took out a pack of powdered medicine, which she quickly smeared on her face. A few minutes later, Xia Xinyan looked like a different person. Her breathtaking appearance was completely gone. Instead, her face was yellow and dark and filled with pimples, making her a slightly ugly young girl. "What the hell are you doing?" Shi Yang was dumbfounded. People from the yin-yang wonderland tend to heavily indulge in their lust. They're one of the most unique forces in the endless sea. The disciples of the yin-yang wonderland cultivate through sexual intercourse, so outstanding-looking men and women become targets for disciples of the yin-yang wonderland. At the moment, my power has not recovered, so if I were to reveal my true face, I'm afraid I'd be doomed. After finishing up her disguise, Xia Xinyan finally relaxed a bit and spoke indifferently. "Ah," Shi Yang exclaimed, and then frowned and said, "Then wouldn't a uniquely tempered and extraordinarily handsome man like me be doomed to suffer?" Some male disciples of the yin-yang wonderland are also gay. Xia Xinyan said indifferently, secretly feeling delightful. "Gay?" Shi Yang's face quickly changed. Chapter 123 1 Palace, 2 Divine Lands, 3 Wonderlands, 4 Sects, 5 Families. Chapter 123 1 Palace, 2 Divine Lands, 3 Wonderlands, 4 Sects, 5 Families. The ship moved through the wind and waves, and slowly approached their little island. On its deck, many pretty, young girls were standing on their tiptoes to see who it was on the island. There were flags with lurid sex scenes dancing with the wind. Those people on the deck were pointing at Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan and chatting with each other. After changing her appearance, Xia Xinyan wore a cold expression, standing still on the sands. Shi Yang stopped howling, and frowned, looking tired. At the beginning, he was excited and curious about the people on that ship, especially when Xia Xinyan said they were from the yin-yang wonderland, which had very open views on sex. Shi Yang was looking forward to having some fun in the future. But when Xia Xinyan mentioned that the males from the yin-yang wonderland also liked men, Shi Yang suddenly got depressed. It was too late to regret, as the ship had already come near, and they didn't know how long they would need to wait if they missed this ship. Without any other choices, Shi Yang decided to try and board the ship, hoping for the best. Soon, that 100-meter-long ship arrived at the shore. Women and men were walking busily on the deck, most of whom were rather good-looking, ranging from 13 years old to 40 years old. "Who are you? Why are you here?" A yellow-faced thin man on the deck asked loudly. He looked to be around 40 years old. This guy was at Nirvana realm, yet he spoke with a loud voice, looking cautious. "We are from the west, heading for the endless sea. Our boat came across a storm and was smashed. We barely escaped and were washed here. Please take us from here." Shi Yang crossed his hands in front of his chest and spoke with hopeful eyes. "From the west?" That guy frowned, narrowed his eyes, and examined Shi Yang for a while. Then he looked at Xia Xinyan, and said coldly, "Got anything good with you? We won't save you for free." Shi Yang was surprised, and then smiled in embarrassment. "Our belongings were washed away. Let's go." That yellow-faced man grunted, and shouted back, not going to pick up Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan. Shi Yang frowned without saying anything. In his bag, there was a level 6 demon crystal and many crystal coins. But he was cautious. He knew he would be killed, rather than being allowed to step on that ship, if he showed his treasure. So he'd better pretend to be poor, for even if he can't step on the ship, he could still live for a couple of days. Seeing that man's leaving, Shi Yang was relieved, though his face still showed worry. "Wait a moment." At that time, the lazy voice of a woman came from a room on the ship. A window was cracked open and a woman looked out through it. Standing on the sands, Shi Yang looked up at that window and found a light was shining down on him. It was a woman. Shi Yang relieved, and calmed down. "Priest Jew, what can I do for you?" That yellow-faced man frowned and asked unhappily. The woman behind the window giggled. Well, I see the two miserable-looking people. Our plants, under the deck, need people to take care of them, and we have many dirty things that need cleaning. Just bring them aboard and let them take care of those. Now that priest Jew had said it, I have to do as you said. That yellow-faced man hesitated, knowing what she wanted, but he nodded. Pull in, let's get them aboard. Li Wei, arrange them. Don't let them ruin the plants. That yellow-faced man ordered, and walked upstairs, frowning. He didn't pay any more attention to Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan. A handsome young man smiled and announced to that man's back, Don't worry, uncle. I will deal with it. This young man was at the second sky of disaster realm. Though he looked young, there were several wrinkles around his eyes. Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan looked at each other and walked to the iron ship together. They climbed up the ladder one by one. After getting onto the ship, Shi Yang found the ship was rather spacious. It had 3 decks and was made of black iron and wood. Dozens of men and women stood on the deck in couples, some of whom were kissing. From the rooms on the ship, moans of men and women came every now and then. Shi Yang was rather shocked by what he saw. They were more blatantly sexual than many of those brothels in the world, which even surprised Shi Yang. Xia Xinyan looked indifferent, for she despised the atmosphere here. She chose to keep her head down. The iron ship had 3 decks, and they were put at the bottom, where it was wet and stuffy. Li Wei showed them to a shabby room, opened the door, and frowned, quickly backing up. His eyes wandered over Xia Xinyan's body, and became complicated, ugly face, but hot body. Would be okay at night. Xia Xinyan, who lowered her head, had a chill come across her eyes, and she quickly bit her lips. Shi Yang walked over to Xia Xinyan and grabbed her hand. We are a couple, 1 room is enough. Being caught by Shi Yang, Xia Xinyan struggled a little at first, but as soon as Shi Yang said that, she stopped struggling. A couple? Li Wei's eyes became complicated, and he nodded. You can use this room. Rest for the night. Tomorrow, you shall move the plants to the top deck and clean out this lower deck, understand? Got it. Shi Yang replied. Li Wei nodded. His eyes wandered over Xia Xinyan, and then he smiled. I wanna kill him. As Li Wei left, Xia Xinyan said with a cold face. Not until you regain your energy. Shi Yang walked into the room. He found it to be extremely small, no more than 5 square meters. Apart from a dusty wooden bed, there was no other furniture in the room, not even a quilt. The room was windowless, stuffy, dirty, and filled with spider webs. As Shi Yang walked up to move the webs, dust filled the room. Xia Xinyan didn't walk in, but frowned and stood outside, watching Shi Yang clean the room. The Yin-Yang Wonderland is one of the 15 powers in the Endless Sea, close to the Corpse sect, the Barbarian sect, and the Cow family, which oppose the Yang family and the Xia family. We can't expose our identities here. While Shi Yang was cleaning the room, Xia Xinyan started speaking in a low voice. 15 powers in the Endless Sea? What are they? Shi Yang glanced back at her and then continued to clean the room. In the Endless Sea, there is 1 palace, 2 divine lands, 3 wonderlands, 4 sects, and 5 families. The Martial Spirit Palace, the Heaven Lake Divine Land, the Penglai Divine Land, the Magical Wonderland, the Yin-Yang Wonderland, the Evil Wonderland, the 3 God Sect, the Sacred Sect, the Corpse Sect, the Barbarian Sect, the Yang, Dongfang, Cow, Xia, and Jiyu families. These 15 powers are the strongest in the Endless Sea. Apart from them, there are many other sects and families. Xia Xinyan explained. You said that the 3 Gods sect and the Yang family are in the different camps. Now this Yin-Yang Wonderland is in a completely different camp too. How many camps are there? Shi Yang asked. There are 5 seas in the Endless Sea, and each sea is a camp. The Yang family, the Xia family, and the Evil Wonderland are in the Kiara Sea, belonging to the same camp. The Yin-Yang Wonderland, the Corpse sect, the Barbarian sect, and the Cow family are in the Tartu Sea. The Martial Spirit Palace and Penglai Divine Land are in the Sky Sea. The Heaven Lake Divine Land, the Magical Wonderland, and the Sacred Sect are in the Black Sea. And the 3 Gods sect, Dongfang family, and Jiyu family are in the Hengluo Sea. The 5 camps are always fighting each other. Now I feel that this has become complicated. Shi Yang shook his head. However, this doesn't bother me, because the endless sea keeps getting more and more interesting. Since we boarded this ship of the Yin-Yang Wonderland, are we going to the Tartu Sea? The Tartu Sea is far from our Kiara Sea. In the Yin-Yang Wonderland, warriors of elementary, nascent, and human realms are general disciples. Warriors of disaster and earth realms are core disciples. Warriors of Nirvana realm are priests, warriors of the sky realm are elders, and the highest masters are the Queen of Sky and King of Earth, who are at the God realm. There are only 2 Nirvana warriors on this iron ship, so they must be priests of the Yin-Yang Wonderland, who are in charge of collecting medicine, jade, and silk for the Yin-Yang Wonderland. We have to be careful, otherwise, we may never reach the Tartu Sea and leave this ship. Xia Xinyan frowned. It's okay now. Come on in. Shi Yang said. The room was clean, after Shi Yang's efforts. But there was still only one bed. Xia Xinyan glanced at it and frowned. You stay on the bed, and I will sleep on the ground. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. Don't be nervous. I don't trust you. Xia Xinyan grunted, but then she walked into the room, sat cross-legged on the bed, and began to train. Shi Yang wanted to ask more about the endless sea, but seeing that Xia Xinyan was silent, he quietly sat down and began to train. They kept silent for a night. Chapter 124. Here, on this ship, you are my girl. Chapter 124. Here, on this ship, you are my girl. The next morning, Shi Yang slowly opened his eyes. He felt full of energy and his eyes shone with light. After cultivating for an entire night, Shi Yang felt refreshed. It seemed that, after all the disasters he went through lately, his state of mind had somehow changed. His mind's power erupted and wandered around the lowest deck of the iron ship. His mind moved through the air and touched many flower pots. He estimated that there were roughly 100 flower pots on this level, with the smaller ones only being palm-sized, but the bigger ones being basin-sized. His mind slowly spread to the middle deck. Suddenly, waves of different mental energies seeped through and hurtled towards Shi Yang's mind. Shi Yang's face changed, and he quickly withdrew his power as he immediately realized that there were many disaster realm warriors on the upper decks. Many of these warriors had very forceful mind powers. They were like powerful giant waves, with fierce strength behind them. Earth realm. Shi Yang gasped. He quickly realized those strong responses were from the minds of Earth realm warriors. There were a couple dozens of these warriors on the middle deck, which put a bit of fear in Shi Yang's heart. The disaster realm is different than the realms that go before it. When cultivating, you need to gain experience. Only if you experience different dangers and live through all kinds of different challenges, gaining insight from them, can you break through to the next stage. Apparently Xia Xinyan was already awake. She glanced at him and spoke indifferently. In the disaster realm, just having the most vigorous profound qi itself is no use. Even if you go back to the Yang family and take some elixirs, without the support of a strong mind, it would be hard for you to break through quickly. Shi Yang also noticed the difference in this realm as he nodded and said, it seems that sometimes danger isn't always a bad thing. I have a feeling that, once my body recovers, I should be able to step into the earth realm. Lately, I've experienced many things, and these experiences are enough for me to take a whole step forward. Xia Xinyan's eyes were glistening with light. The earth realm? Shi Yang grinned, and he chuckled. Doesn't that mean it will be a lot harder for me to catch up to you? Xia Xinyan didn't bother to pay attention to him. She quietly snorted and slowly got down from the bed. You too, get up and start working. A crisp voice came from the stairs that lead up to the higher decks. Soon a 17 to 18-year-old girl, with bristling eyebrows, appeared at the door and pointed to Shi Yang, saying, You, go carry these flower pots up to the deck. The woman will be responsible for cleaning this level. There will be no food or water for you if you don't finish these duties. Then with a kata-kata sound, the girl went upstairs. She spent as little time down here as possible. Let's go work. Shi Yang smiled. There's no such thing as a free feast in this world. It seems that it won't be easy for us along the way. Xinyan, if you can't handle it, I can help you a little after I'm finished with my work. There's no need. Xia Xinyan coldly replied, you should be careful yourself. Don't get caught by the gay guys. Shi Yang's expression darkened, and he spoke angrily, are you intending to piss me off? Xia Xinyan rolled her eyes, and as if she felt delighted, she said dismissively, I'm just reminding you to be careful, which is for your own good. You're so ungrateful. Shi Yang snorted, stopped arguing with her, and started carrying the flower pots. Time passed quickly. With the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. In these 10 days, every morning, after he got up, Shi Yang would carry the flower pots from this level to the deck. Then, after the sun set, he would carry the flower pots back. He repeated this every day. Xia Xinyan was the same, she worked downstairs during the day, clumsily cleaning the dust on this level. During these 10 days, whenever Shi Yang finished his work, he would go down and help her clean the dust and the filthy objects. Slowly, Xia Xinyan stopped being cold to Shi Yang. Sometimes when she talked to him, she would even give him a rare smile. It made Shi Yang feel warmth in his heart, and he wouldn't feel dull in these days at all. Every day, after the two finished their work, that girl named Xiao Feng would bring food and water to them. The food was just some salted fish and steamed bread, which didn't taste that great. Shi Yang didn't mind, but even when he gorged down all the food he still wouldn't feel full. Xia Xinyan, on the other hand, had never been through such hardships. She worked her ass off every day, but still only had this poor quality food to eat. Her appetite became smaller and smaller. Every night, the two would be squeezed in that tiny little room, listening to the shouting of the cultivating couples upstairs. In the beginning, Xia Xinyan felt very awkward, she was flushed to her neck, and wouldn't even look at Shi Yang. She feared that Shi Yang might turn into a lustful beast and do some indignifying things to her. Then as time went on, she saw that Shi Yang had been behaving calmly. Although he did flush a few times, he didn't take any further actions. Soon, she let down her guard. In the end, the two could even listen to the lustful sounds upstairs and casually chat at the same time. Another day passed. Shi Yang spent 3 hours bringing all of the flower pots up to the deck. Then he immediately returned to the lower level, ready to help Xia Xinyan clean up the junk. What are you doing? Suddenly, Xia Xinyan's shout came from the lower level. Shi Yang scowled and sprinted downstairs. He quickly saw Li Wei standing at the door of the room, shamelessly pestering Xia Xinyan. Behind Li Wei were 3 male disciples from the Yin-Yang Wonderland, who were all in the first sky of the disaster realm. The 3 smiled lazily. Xia Xinyan had been recovering quite well lately, but she still couldn't use her profound qi, or all her progress would be for nothing. Li Wei was at the second sky of the disaster realm. He was a core disciple of the Yin-Yang Wonderland, and also the nephew of that yellow-faced man. He had quite a powerful position on the ship. He was obviously not here with good intentions. Sure, your face looks a little ugly, but your figure is quite fine. The lighting on this level isn't that great, so I can bear with it. Stop struggling, it's a great blessing for you to be able to accept my favor. Once you're mine, you'll no longer have to work hard on this level. The quality of your food will also get much better. Li Wei smiled as he stormed into that cramped room, speaking with disdain, that kid can't protect you. If you don't want to become fish food with him, you better be good. Girl, it's a blessing for you to enter the eye of Brother Wei. Frankly speaking, with your looks a normal man would never be interested. But Brother Wei is special, and can accept woman with a good figure. If you stay put, there will be plenty of benefits for you on this ship. At the doorway, behind Li Wei, a Yin-Yang Wonderland disciple at the first sky of the disaster realm spoke persuasively. Get the hell out of here. Xia Xinyan stood inside the room, her expression cold and her eyes were piercing. Hee, once I have my fun, I'll go. Li Wei smiled, an obscene look in his eyes. Suddenly, a shadow stormed into the room, like a cannonball, and his shoulders knocked away the 3 disciples guarding the door. Shi Yang made his way into the room. With a cold expression, he kicked Li Wei's back, sending him flying. He slammed hard onto the wooden wall of the room. You wanna die? Li Wei brushed away the blood on the corner of his mouth and slowly stood up. He glared at Shi Yang and said sneering, "This is a ship of the yin-yang wonderland, you're digging your own grave. Fuck off. Now." Shi Yang furrowed his brows, his expression was annoyed. "Kid, you're dead." The three warriors outside the door immediately sprinted their way once they could react to the situation. Shi Yang's body quietly petrified, and the yin qi and the profound qi formed into a gravitational field, completely blocking up the door. The three Disaster Realm warriors all fell into the gravitational field, and their bodies involuntarily started spinning. Shi Yang's expression was cold. His eyes were like sharp blades. He suddenly sprinted towards Li Wei, his fingers forming into spears, gleaming in the chilling light. Li Wei's expression changed, and he opened his hands, a grayish-white light burst out from his palm. Bang! Shi Yang's finger stabbed right through the light ball, making his arms tingle. The finger continued and pierced through Li Wei's chest. Thump! Just as Li Wei stood up from the previous blow, his body was, again, struck against the wooden wall, his face filled with panic. Taking a step forward, Shi Yang grabbed Li Wei by his neck, lifting him high into the air. Shi Yang's eyes were murderous. He grinned and said, "You dare to have wicked ideas about my girl? I'll happily cut off your limbs for you." Li Wei was single-handedly lifted up by Shi Yang. His feet were dangling in the air, and he couldn't muster any strength to oppose this. Li Wei's eyes showed a flash of fear, and he was having difficulty breathing, constantly struggling and hitting Shi Yang with his fists. Shi Yang had already activated his petrification martial spirit, and there was also a layer of dark light covering his body. No matter how hard Li Wei tried, he couldn't even make a dent in Shi Yang. Shi Yang was standing as still as a stone. Shi Yang. Xia Xinyan was slightly surprised. She suddenly exclaimed, and stared at him while shaking her head, signaling that he shouldn't take Li Wei's life. This was the first time she saw Shi Yang attack. She was secretly stunned by such fierce and ruthless attacks. The warriors outside and Li Wei were all Disaster Realm warriors, and amongst them, Li Wei was actually at the second sky of the Disaster Realm. But all these four people were restrained by Shi Yang on the very first encounter. Moreover, the three by the door were still strangely spinning. God knows what methods Shi Yang used. Li Wei was the worst. He was restrained almost instantly, without a single chance of fighting back. Even Xia Xinyan, who had seen plenty of capable young men, was surprised by Shi Yang's ruthless and fierce methods. She wondered how Shi Yang, who had just entered the Disaster Realm, could possess such unyielding powers. "Roll your ass out." Shi Yang threw Li Wei to the floor and kicked him out. Li Wei kept rolling on the floor, and he actually did roll out. Shi Yang released the gravitational field and, together, the three warriors by the door fell onto the floor. Taking a step forward, Shi Yang stood by the doorway and spoke with a cold expression, "I am not staying on your ship as a freeloader. Next time, if you dare to get any more ideas about my girl, you will never be able to enjoy women again for the rest of your lives. Leave. Don't let me ever smell your stench again." The four Disaster Real warriors, including Li Wei, looked at Shi Yang with clenched teeth. "Let's go." Li Wei stood up, his expression was twisted. Scowling, he turned around and walked away. The three Disaster Realm warriors on the ground all grudgingly stared at Shi Yang. At last, they quietly stood up and followed Li Wei out. Shi Yang was blocking the doorway like a doorkeeper. His eyes were sharp, and murderous thoughts flashed across his eyes. He said indifferently, "Those four kids won't let this go easily. We should get ready, maybe we would really have to resort to escape by jumping into the sea. Fuck, I haven't even gotten to play with their girls yet, and they already dare to have ideas about my girl. Those fuckers really wanna die. Who are you calling your girl?" Xia Xinyan clenched her teeth, and glared at him bitterly. "Here, on this ship, you are my girl." Shi Yang turned around and smiled widely at her. "As for the future, you never know. Dash. Chapter 125 Accept as Disciple. Chapter 125 Accept as Disciple. Sponsored by Tyson Hartwell. Dash. On the bottom level of the iron ship, Shi Yang's expression was serious. He kept knocking on the iron and wooden boards of the ship. Xia Xinyan stood silently to the side. She only quietly watched his movements. The iron ship is very solid, but it can't stump me. If I use all my strength, it will be enough to break through these boards. Shi Yang tapped around for a moment, then his expression loosened. He smiled and said, "We can stay right here. If some master were to go against us later, then I can just blow a big hole in this ship, and escape into the sea with you." Xia Xinyan nodded lightly, that Li Wei won't let this go easily. He should be bringing some people here very soon. Xinyan, your charm is really fascinating. Even under such a disguise, you can still attract all these bugs, tsk. Shi Yang shook his head in exclamation, if you return to your true appearance, then all the men on this ship would go crazy. It seems that we cannot stay here for long. Let's leave as soon as we can. You attract bugs. Really nothing decent can come out of your filthy mouth. Xia Xinyan rolled her eyes, but she didn't really get mad. Instead, she felt a little bit secretly pleased inside. Although Shi Yang's words didn't sound that good to her ears, he did compliment her beauty. If it were back then, she couldn't have cared less. But now, looking at Shi Yang, she didn't feel that annoyed anymore. Back in that moment, Shi Yang blocked the door and held up against 4 Disaster Realm warriors. This left a deep imprint in her mind, and somewhat stirred some ripples in her heart. I saw you attack for the first time today. Unexpectedly, your strength is really not bad. Xia Xinyan hesitated for a second, her bright eyes filled with some curiosity. I heard that you didn't cultivate any martial arts before you were 17. But you reached the nascent realm in the matter of a single night, is that right? Yeah, I got some lucky opportunities. Shi Yang answered indifferently. He didn't want to go too deep on this topic, so he smiled and said, "It's not that I'm strong, it's just that Li Wei's group was too weak. Those 4 people didn't have any sort of martial spirits, and their profound qi wasn't very vigorous. They're probably not as good as other Disaster Realm warriors of the same level." You have good eyes. Xia Xinyan nodded and said, "In the yin-yang wonderland, most disciples are obsessed with sexual pleasures and do not put a lot of effort into cultivation. There are many sexual energy cultivation skills in the yin-yang wonderland, but they have benefits and drawbacks. While letting the disciples cultivate through sex does strengthen their profound qi, it also corrupts their state of mind. Many disciples, who have nice potential, often slowly become depraved, due to obsessing over sexual pleasures. They go so far that some would stop working for progress, and it would be hard for them to cultivate to a higher level. Indeed, the disciples here mostly lack vigorous profound qi. Although Li Wei was at the second sky of the Disaster Realm, his profound qi was worse than an ordinary first sky of the Disaster Realm warrior. Against me, of course he couldn't gain any advantages. Besides, he doesn't even have a martial spirit. Li Wei is a little weak, but your strength is simply ridiculous. Xia Xinyan's brows furrowed, then she said, "When I was at the first sky of the Disaster Realm, I still wouldn't have been able to take care of Li Wei so easily. I could have used the reincarnation martial spirit, but that would have been cheating." Both Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan were not like ordinary people. After wounding Li Wei, they could still casually chat, even though they were in the opponent's territory. It was as if they didn't care about death at all. The two laughed and chatted. Soon, 3 hours had passed. Unexpectedly, Li Wei didn't come back. Instead, that girl, Xiao Feng, brought the food and water early. After Xiao Feng arrived, her eyes glinted with light. She put the food and water down, then curiously looked at Shi Yang. Shi Yang didn't waste time talking about useless things. He went to open the food, and suddenly smiled. "Xiao Feng, what's going on today? The food is quite generous this time." There were not salted fish and steamed bread in the basket. Instead, there was cooked beef and delicious-smelling chicken, plus a kettle of liquor. There was also 1 extra big jug of fresh water. The food this time was a whole grade better than before. This made Shi Yang feel a little baffled. "Was it you who wounded Li Wei?" Xiao Feng asked curiously. "That's right." Shi Yang dazed, and looked at the slightly excited-looking Xiao Feng. "Why? Is Li Wei your enemy?" I want to kill him. Xiao Feng clenched her teeth, her eyes were filled with hatred. I had 3 sisters, they were all tortured to death by Li Wei. If I had the ability, I would have killed him a long time ago. I do want to help you, but Li Wei seems to be the nephew of that yellow-faced man. If I hurt him, I probably won't be able to stay on your ship any longer. Shi Yang bit a chunk of meat off the drumstick and started chewing it in his mouth. He took a gulp of liquor, and casually passed that big piece of beef to Xia Xinye. Wife, eat up. You'll only have strength to escape if you eat. Xia Xinyan stood behind him. She secretly reached her hand to his waist and pinched tightly. She threw a glare at him, then finally she walked forward from behind Shi Yang, and took that piece of beef. She immediately turned to the side, her pretty eyes looking pleased. Shi Yang grinned, and, with a wry smile, he shook his head. You unrestrainable woman, I'll deal with you later. Xiao Feng seemed to have noticed the movements between the two, but she didn't mind it much. She explained, although Li Wei is Priest Li Zhuang's nephew, he still wouldn't dare to mess around. When I knew that Li Wei was hurt by you, I immediately notified Priestess Ju. Priestess Ju told me to find out about the situation. As long as it's not your fault, Priestess Ju will protect you. Shi Yang's mind clicked, and he realized that this Priestess Ju was probably stood opposed to that Li Zhuang. He hurt Li Wei, so that Priestess Ju was secretly delighted, and was trying to take the opportunity to oppress Li Zhuang. So this is what happened. Li Wei was a despicable son of a bitch. He wanted to violate my wife. Shi Yang exaggerated a lot, and used all the malicious words to slander Li Wei. I understand now. Xiao Feng nodded and smiled. Li Wei sure is a despicable son of a bitch, you said it right. I'll go inform Priestess Ju right away. Don't worry, Priestess Ju likes you a lot, she's definitely going to protect you. Then, Xiao Feng hustled away, and quickly went up the stairs. That Priestess Ju, she should be the woman that vouched for you in the beginning and let us on the ship. After Xiao Feng left, Xia Xinyan quickly spoke up. Right. Shi Yang smiled. It seems that we don't have to escape by jumping into the ocean anymore. Those 2 priests can fight on their own, and we'll be stuck in the middle, so there are still some opportunities here. That woman probably has her eyes on you now. Maybe she's going to accept you as a disciple. You should thoroughly consider it. Accept me as a disciple? Shi Yang exclaimed. In the Yin-Yang Wonderland, the priests and elders have the right to take in disciples. Usually, it's the men who take female disciples and the women who take male disciples. The relationships between Yin-Yang Wonderland's teachers and disciples are close enough that they would need to exchange knowledge on the bed. I think you should know what that means. Xia Xinyan said lightly. Like gigolos? Shi Yang exclaimed. Pretty much. On the outside, they have the teacher and disciple title, and once the night comes, they will sleep together. I don't know how many disciples that Priestess Ju has, but if you can become one of them, you should be able to get your turn a few times a month. Then by that time you can learn some secret skills from the Yin-Yang Wonderland. Isn't that what you want? Xia Xinyan said indifferently. A couple of disciples? Shi Yang's expression slowly started to darken. That would be considered as little. Some priestesses have dozens of disciples, and other than disciples they have all sorts of other partners. When they meet an allied force, and a man catches their eyes, they could take off their clothes for them at any time. That's how the women of Yin-Yang Wonderland are, they're touched and kissed by thousands. Isn't that worse than prostitutes? No, it's different. This is their hobby, they don't ask for money. Do you understand? This is a hobby. It's like how some people like plants and other people like luxurious jewelry. This is what the people from Yin-Yang Wonderland like to do. They don't think there's anything wrong with it. They just say that it's a way for people to communicate with each other. Soon that Priestess Ju will meet you, and, at that time, you will understand. Xia Xinyan casually explained all of the secrets within. Shi Yang's expression was turning worse. Thump. 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 Sure enough, Xiao Feng returned quickly. She smilingly stood by the staircase, and waved at Shi Yang. Priestess Ju told you to go over to her, she said she has something to discuss with you. It seems you are quite lucky today. If you get accepted by Priestess Ju, that Li Zhuang won't dare to do anything to you. Come on, Priestess Ju is waiting. I feel a little unwell, maybe next time. Shi Yang clutched his stomach, his face full of pain. You also got hurt by Li Wei, right? Xiao Feng was a little surprised. She nodded. Don't worry, Priestess Ju has a lot of healing medicine. Maybe she would reward you a few, then your injuries would heal very quickly. This is a big opportunity. Don't miss it. Come on, let's go. Shi Yang still shook his head. What? You're scared? Xia Xinyan felt delighted inside. She said, as a wife, I don't even mind. What are you scared about? Fine, then I'll go. Shi Yang's expression hardened. He suddenly moved to Xia Xinyan's side and forcibly grabbed her little hand. Go with me. Xia Xinyan's hand was supple, smooth, and soft, as if she had no bones. Holding it in his hand felt like clutching on a beautiful piece of smooth and silky jade, cool and comfortable to the touch. Xia Xinyan's eyes became tinged with panic. She struggled for a moment, then said, Let go. You can go by yourself. Why are you dragging me along? Shi Yang held on tightly. No matter how much she struggled, he still wouldn't let go. He said, I would worry if you stayed here alone. Who knows if that Li Wei would come back while I was gone? From now on, you can't leave my sight. Wherever I go, you have to follow along. You. Xia Xinyan exclaimed. She was angry and furious at Shi Yang's arrogance, but she also felt a little touched. Xia Xinyan stared at Shi Yang for a few seconds, a complex expression on her face. She finally stopped struggling. Her neck flushed red, and she just let Shi Yang hold on to her little hand. I can go, but she has to come along. I can't leave her here. Shi Yang looked at Xiao Feng. Fine. Xia Feng frustratedly nodded, and said, Later when we reach the door, I will ask Priestess Ju. Let's go. All right. Xiao Feng took the lead in front, and Shi Yang held Xia Xinyan's delicate hand, casually following behind her. They went straight for the top deck of the ship. Xia Xinyan lowered her head, and her face didn't change because she had the disguise on, but her neck was becoming more and more red, her heart was quickly filling with shyness. Then at this moment, Shi Yang's face quietly came close, and came towards her ear. Xia Xinyan's heart shook, she quickly stared at him, signaling that he shouldn't mess around. Shi Yang didn't bother, his mouth came upon her red little ear, and said quietly, In a moment, that woman might get furious. Pay attention to my signal. You jump into the sea first, I'll follow after you. Okay, you be careful. Xia Xinyan murmured under her breath, then she hurriedly moved a small distance away from Shi Yang, her fair-skinned neck flushed red. Dash. Chapter 126, The Second Sky of Rampage. Chapter 126, The Second Sky of Rampage. Xiao Feng showed Shi Yang and Xia Xinyan to a room on the third floor. Xiao Feng knocked on the door and politely announced their presence. Priestess Ju, they are here. Let him in. A lazy woman voice came. Priestess Ju, the girl came here as well. Xiao Feng glanced at Xia Xinyan and said, Oh. Leave her outside. That woman said indifferently. Xiao Feng nodded and pushed the door open, gesturing for Shi Yang to enter. Shi Yang then released Xia Xinyan's hand and walked into the room, frowning. As soon as he walked in, Xiao Feng closed the door and cautiously looked at Xia Xinyan. This room was quite spacious, being about 50 square meters. There was a soft carpet on the ground and sexy paintings on the wall. Fresh fruits and a bottle of wine were sitting on the wooden table. In the big bed behind a red veil, lay a sexy woman with white skin and eyes that shimmered like water. She had a small birthmark on her lip, which made her look even more seductive. The woman looked relaxed. After glancing at Shi Yang, she smiled. You hurt Li Wei? Shi Yang nodded and didn't say anything. Priestess Ju looked to be around 30 and was quite attractive. If it were not for what Xia Xinyan had told him, he would definitely have jumped into her bed. However, once he remembered that she had experienced many men, Shi Yang felt sick. He was rather picky. He wouldn't have been in that brothel, last time, without that negative energy. You look rather handsome. The pretty woman chuckled after staring at Shi Yang for a long while. You hurt Li Wei. Without my protection, you won't live very long on this ship. You are at a rather high realm, and you will develop faster with the skills of Yin Yang Wonderland. I want to take you as my disciple. What do you think? Just as expected. Shi Yang was unhappy, but he didn't show it, and, instead, shook his head. Thank you for your offer, but I'm used to being alone, so I will leave once we reached land. Oh. The woman was surprised, and her smile faded away. There are numerous beautiful women in the Yin Yang Wonderland, ranging from the ages of 13 to 40. So many boys in the endless sea want to join us. Are you sure? Shi Yang shook his head with an indifferent face. Then fine. I wouldn't want to push anyone. The woman paused and waved her hand. Leave. Watch out for Li Wei. You can still find me if you decide to change your mind. If you come with me, you will have countless beautiful women. Suppressing his desire, Shi Yang bowed and left the room. Let's go. Shi Yang grabbed Xia Xinyan's hand and walked back to the room on the lowest deck. Stupid. Xiao Feng grunted, then turned to that woman. Priestess Ju, what do we do now? Tell Li Zhuang not to touch them. They can be a gift to our friends in exchange for something. It would be a shame to waste so much. That woman looked indifferent. Xiao Feng showed a slight bit of fear, then nodded. Got it. Leave me alone. That woman waved her hand. If he changes his mind, bring him to me. I will still accept him as long as he comes before we arrive at our destination. Yes, priestess. Xiao Feng bowed and left, feeling rather relieved. Shi Yang was on alert the entire way, and felt relieved they returned to their small room safely. That woman was not pretty enough. Xia Xinyan sat on the bed, cross-legged, and asked. Pretty enough. She was like a peach. I wanted to bite into her. Shi Yang said honestly. Then why did you refuse her? You know, since you refused her, we will be treated badly by Li Wei later on. I have my own standards. Shi Yang grunted and cursed. Even you thought those women were shameless. How could I be interested? Do I look that easy? Yes. Shi Yang gritted his teeth and stared at her angrily. You are fond of fighting with me these days. You really want me to teach you a lesson? You wouldn't dare. Why not? Shi Yang smiled, dropped to the bed, hugged Xia Xinyan, and kissed her on the neck. Then he got off the bed. This is just a little punishment. Shi Yang. You bastard. I won't let you go peacefully. Xia Xinyan was irritated. I will escape before you recover. Haha. Shi Yang was confident. If you keep pissing me off, I will keep giving you lessons and let you know how to behave as a woman. I won't forget this. Xia Xinyan gritted her teeth. It's an honor that you remember me. There is barely any man that can be remembered by you in the endless sea, right? Shi Yang continued to tease her. Xia Xinyan's eyes were filled with a cold look. She didn't reply. Shi Yang was secretly delighted. In the martial competition, Xia Xinyan floated in the air, like a goddess. At that moment, Shi Yang fell for her. And after he saw her face at Moon Lake, he couldn't resist her anymore. If it weren't for Xia Xinyan being so badly hurt, he wouldn't have had the chance to kiss her. So he had to seize the opportunity. Once he thought of this pretty woman, her delicate face, and her amazing reincarnation martial spirit, he couldn't control himself. Xia Xinyan was the first woman that had provoked his feelings after he arrived in this strange world. Xia Xinyan kept silent. So Shi Yang also stopped talking. Closing his eyes, Shi Yang continued to train. Suddenly, he thought of the blood vein ring on his finger. Triggering his will, Shi Yang suddenly began to operate his profound qi to strike at the blood vein ring. The profound qi flowed through his arm like a river, quickly reaching his palm. Then it forcefully struck the blood vein ring. Red light blew out from the blood vein ring. Shi Yang was rather joyful, and he concentrated more and more energy, regardless of Xia Xinyan, who was sitting beside him. Like a sharp sword, the profound qi slashed into the blood vein ring. The blood vein ring became brighter and brighter, and the barrier inside the ring began to crack under the strikes of profound qi. Strange signs kept jumping out of the ring, gathering in Shi Yang's mind. The second sky of rampage. Those strange signs were the formula of the second sky of Rampage, which engraved in Shi Yang's memory. To train in the second sky of Rampage, he had to pour the negative energy into his blood. With it in the blood, the power he would gain from the negative energy would be much stronger. Shi Yang was shocked, and he suddenly opened his eyes. Xia Xinyan's eyes glittered as she saw at the blood vein ring. When Shi Yang woke up, she asked, "Your ring seems special. An ancient air came out from it just now. What happened?" "Nothing." Shi Yang didn't want to talk about it. "This ring is a secret treasure, and I'm still exploring it." "Got anything?" Xia Xinyan was interested. "Nothing at all." Shi Yang shook his head. "There is dense corpse qi in those boxes. I sensed it. Let's go and check." As Shi Yang reached the second sky of Rampage, his senses became so acute that he could sense the qi of corpses from those boxes. "Okay." Xia Xinyan nodded, then got off the bed. She followed Shi Yang to the center of the deck to examine the boxes. The boxes looked heavy. Shi Yang walked to one of them, and subtly operated spear finger. The wooden box was quickly opened. Cold corpse qi came out. Shi Yang looked into it and shouted, "Corpse." There was a corpse of an old man, maybe 50 years old, covered with ice. The body was slim and dry, giving him a frightening visage. Shi Yang's face became pale, and he quickly looked into another box. Another corpse. "There are 32 boxes here. Are they all corpses?" Shi Yang's face became gloomy, quickly realizing why Xiao Feng didn't want to stay on this deck very long. "Corpse slaves from the corpse sec." Xia Xinyan's mouth quivered with disgust. "How dare that they put us down here? They will pay for this." Edited by Eli. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.